A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. Mary's been waiting impatiently in her room in the New York hotel where she is staying for her friend Maud Marlowe's return. For Maud has been seeing Larry in the city jail, where he's awaiting trial for the murder of Oliver Wilson, young ne'er-do-well who was found hanging high in the wings of the Hamilton Theater, where Larry was starring in a hit play. Finally, Mary hears the sound of rapping on her door.
Maud?
Yes, it's me, Mary.
Oh, thank goodness. It's been horrible waiting for you to get back. Come in and tell me everything Larry said to you.
Oh, just let me get my breath.
Oh, here, sit down. Can I get you anything?
No, nothing at all. Just let me sit down, Mary.
Oh, poor Maud. It's awful to make you run around on my account when you're already doing so much. When you're tired from all those weeks of rehearsal for your new play.
Nonsense. That isn't why I'm tired.
Well, then what is it? Just tell me one thing, Maud. Did Larry say anything?
It's no use, Mary. There was nothing I could say to him.
Then he won't be convinced about me? He prefers to believe I've lied to him and cheated and carried on a great romance with Rupert Barlow while he was safely behind bars?
Now, just a minute before you take that bitter tone, Mary. Just remember that Larry has been through a ghastly experience, and the worst is yet to come. And if his judgment is warped and his suspicion aroused, it's not entirely his fault. There's been considerable provocation.
But, Maud, I've never for a minute been disloyal. I've never cared about anyone except Larry.
Well, perhaps in time he may believe that, Mary. Right now, he's too deeply hurt to be reasonable.
Then what am I to do?
There's only one thing you can do. Make the best possible showing with him through his trial. Make everyone in that courtroom think that you and Larry are the most loving, understanding couple in the world.
It won't be hard for me to feel that. It's the way I've always felt about Larry. But it's horrible to know that every time he smiles at me or takes my hand, it'll be just for effect. As though he were reading a part on this page. It's almost unbearable.
I wish there was something I could say, my dear, but there isn't. I'm afraid you'll just have to accept Larry's point of view and play along accordingly. That is, if you mean to stand by him.
Of course I'll stand by him. How could I possibly do anything else? When his safety means more to me than anything in the world. I'll do whatever he says. But I've got to find some way of making him believe in me. Oh, if only I could be the one to clear him of the murder charge. If only I could prove what I believe with all my heart. But he swears that he'll ask for a divorce the first thing if he's acquitted.
It will be time enough to talk about that after the verdict is in.
It may be too late. Maud, I feel that somehow I must do something. I must find the means of saving Larry. If he's ever to believe in me again.
Maud Marlowe sits back in her chair and closes her eyes. As Mary Noble stands looking out of the window, her thoughts intent on the beginning of a plan. Meantime, in another part of New York, we find Claudia Vincent, the cause of so much of the present trouble, in the living room of Lester Jordan's apartment. Lester Jordan, Larry Noble's friend who is helping him in his trial.
You know, I've been thinking, Lester, what a wonderful thing it is for Larry to have such a friend as you.
Well, Larry has a lot of friends, Claudia. He's a great guy, and there are a good many of us who do most anything to help him.
Well, you've already proved that by all the things you've done for me.
Well, since you've offered to give important testimony.
Oh, I didn't mean to imply that you were doing all this on my account.
Well, as a matter of fact...
Well, I know it's only because you want to help Larry when his trial comes up. Oh, but it does make me rather uncomfortable to realize how much of a burden I've been.
Not at all, Claudia. You mustn't even say such a thing.
Oh, but it's true. It's terribly true, Lester. I've had to accept so much from you, so much money so that I could try to hide out safely. And now I've taken over this lovely apartment of yours and forced you to move out.
I'm staying at the Green Room Club, and I'm entirely comfortable. I only hope you're being well looked after.
Oh, yes. I'm being positively spoiled. Oh, Lester, I'm afraid I shall hate to leave here and go back out into the world.
You'll probably be glad enough when the time comes.
Oh, it's you who'll be glad to be rid of me, and I don't blame you for that. Oh, I don't know how I can ever repay you for your generosity, Lester.
There's no thought of that. Just get on the witness stand at Larry's trial and give your testimony. That's all the payment anyone wants.
I hope I'll be convincing.
I'm sure you will, Claudia.
Do I sound convincing to you, Lester?
Of course. I'd scarcely have gone this far with the idea if I didn't believe in your story.
Oh, it's good to hear you say that, because I find more and more that I want you to think well of me, Lester.
Oh, I do.
I mean, well, not just as a witness for Larry Noble, but for myself as well.
Yes, that's what I mean.
I've risked a lot to stay on in New York. I don't know how much more I'll be risking after I've told my story on the stand, but if I've helped to free Larry, who was so very good to me once, and if I've won your friendship, that will be very well worth all the danger.
There's not going to be any danger, Claudia. I'm seeing to that.
Oh, it's sweet of you to be so concerned. After all, I can't expect you to look out for me indefinitely. Can I, Lester?
Lester Jordan reaches out and takes a cigarette from the box and then lights it with slow deliberation as Claudia Vincent watches him. At this same time, in the visiting room of the New York City jail, we find Larry Noble with an unexpected visitor, the gossip columnist, Marty Rufus. We hear...
Well, Marty, this is something of a surprise.
I know it is, Larry. Matter of fact, if a lot of the people I've written about in my column could see me now, they'd suggest that I couldn't be in a better place.
And just what made you decide to come and see me?
Well, a couple of things, Larry. First, the paper wants me to do a piece about you. How you feel just before going to trial, all that kind of stuff. You know, giving it the Marty Rufus approach.
Haven't you already devoted enough space to me in your column?
Well, not to you, Larry. More to your wife, Mary, and her devoted companion, Rupert Barlow.
Oh, yes, you've given them a great deal of attention, haven't you? Things must be slow around town.
Look here, Larry, I know I've been a little tough on your family, but, well, what can I do? These stories get to me, and I print them as I see them.
Without regard to the truth, necessarily.
Now, look. I ran 2 pictures of your wife and Rupert Barlow. Those were real photographs, Larry. They weren't fakes.
What of it?
I'm just explaining why I printed them. Rupert Barlow is always news, no matter what he's up to. And this story of his interest in your wife is going the rounds.
Did you come here to get my reaction to your filthy gossip?
Not at all, no. I merely want to know what you feel about the forthcoming trial.
I feel sure of being acquitted.
I'm sure I hope so, Larry.
Thanks so much, Marty.
At the same time, it's hard to see just what shape your defense is going to take.
You'll have your chance to see it all in the courtroom.
Right. Well, I guess I'll have to be satisfied with that. You seem pretty confident.
Why shouldn't I be? I didn't kill young Wilson.
Who do you think did it?
I don't know. There were a good many people present backstage at the theater the night he was murdered.
Yes, that's right. What about Claudia Vincent? She's apparently dropped from sight.
Has she?
I'm asking you. You any idea where she is right now?
Do you expect me to tell you? Even if I could?
Yeah, she's caused you a lot of headaches, Larry. I hope she isn't going to cause you any more.
What do you mean by that, Marty?
I've been wondering about her. Where did she go, and why? Will she show up at the trial? And on what side? Well, that woman is something of a mystery. At least to me.
I'm surprised to hear that. I thought all things were known to you, Marty. I thought Marty Rufus was gifted with second sight.
Oh, not in this case, Larry. I don't suppose you'd care to tell me, just off the record, mind you, how you feel about the glamorous Claudia? You were her friend and protector. The gossips have suggested that you were a great deal more. And she rewarded you by running off and marrying that good-for-nothing young fortune hunter, Oliver Wilson.
Are you leading up to the suggestion that I killed Wilson because of a wild infatuation for Claudia? Is that it?
No, but it's the prevalent explanation. I thought you might put me straight on it, Larry.
I have nothing to say, Marty. You'll hear my defense in court.
Well, that's up to you, Larry, old man. The best of luck to you. Now, isn't there anything you can give me, any kind of message?
Yes, you can say that I have perfect confidence in my acquittal. I also have the support of my wife, who will stand loyally by.
Then you don't take any stock in the rumors of her interest in Barlow?
Of course not, Marty. Well, I know my wife. She'd never let me down. You'll find her beside me in court, trusting and believing in my innocence. It's the principal reason for my confidence.
Well, I'll be done. Okay, Larry, if that's the way you want it. I hope everything works out for you and your loyal and devoted wife.
Marty Rufus shrugs into his overcoat and prepares to leave, as Larry continues to look at him in silence. What effect will this talk have on Larry's future? We'll be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the homicide detail. A phone call comes into your office from a man who tells you his wife has been murdered. He's not sure who the killer is. Your job? Find him. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, January 9th. It was rainy and windy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 9:27 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide detail.
Hi, Joe. Great night, huh?
Yeah, terrible weather.
Just look out there on Spring Street.
Yeah, I know. I just came in out of it.
Really coming down.
Yeah.
Just like I told you on the phone this afternoon.
What's that?
Every time those seagulls fly in from the coast, it means rain.
Yeah. Sure is a fine coat. I've never been sorry I bought this.
Let me take another look at that, Joe.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. English coat, huh?
Yeah, they make them a little heavier over there than we do here. Seem to be kind of good in our business. You remember that Henderson stakeout last month?
Oh, yeah. Really poured down that day.
Mm-hmm. This coat kept me dry as a bone. Water just seems to roll off it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Here you go.
Thank you. I have to hang it up.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to keep a good coat on a hanger, you know, especially when they're wet.
Betcha. Trouble with mine is it leaks right up here over the shoulders. Must be through the seams, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Same one I've been wearing. I told you about it before.
You said you're going to get a new one, didn't you?
Yeah, but it's such a good coat otherwise. I hate to throw it away.
It's no good if it leaks.
I guess you're right at that. Maybe I can get those seams fixed, do you think?
I don't know. How long you had it?
7 years.
I'll get it. Homicide, Friday.
This is 14 on the complaint board. Take this call.
Right.
Hello?
Hello.
My name's Leonard Gray.
Yes, sir?
My wife's dead. She's been killed. I just went down to the garage, and when I came back, she was dead. Could you send somebody out here right away?
Yes, sir. What's that address?
1627 Oxford Place.
27 Oxford Place.
Yes, sir, that's right. Can't understand that she was all right when I left, and then when I came back, she was dead. I can't understand that.
We'll be right there, Mr. Gray.
My best friend lives right next door.
Yes, sir.
He says I did it.
1627 Oxford Place was on the east side of the street. It was an average one-story stucco home. All the homes on the street were about the same general style and size. It was a nice neighborhood. All the grounds appeared to be well kept from what we could see through the heavy rain. The porch light was burning when we got there. Inside the house, we were met by the two officers from Unit 37R who filled us in on the results of their preliminary investigation. We asked them to stand by in front of the house. Then we asked the husband of the murdered woman, Leonard Gray, to show us where the body was.
Back this way, in the dining room. Everything just the way you found it, Mr. Gray? You didn't touch anything?
No, sir, haven't touched anything. Right there on the floor. That's where I found it. Can I wait up there in the living room?
Yes, sir, that's all right. Ben, would you like to help?
Yeah.
Just sit right there. I'll be right with you.
Thank you.
You and your wife live here alone, do you?
Yes. It's just two of us, no children.
Ben.
Yeah?
The clothing's torn. Must have put up a struggle, huh?
Yeah. Some redness there around the throat. Strangled?
Yeah, could be. Deep gash there on the forehead. Broken vase there on the floor. You want to call the crime lab?
Yeah, okay. Mr. Gray, where's your telephone?
Right in the hall out there by the bedroom.
Thank you.
You think you could tell us about it now, Mr. Gray?
Yes, I think so. Do you have a cigarette?
Yes, sir. There you are.
Thank you.
Just a minute, I'll give you a light.
Thanks.
That's all right. Now, can you tell me just what happened here tonight?
Earl Anderson, that's my friend. Lives 2 houses down. He and I went out after work. We usually do once or twice a week just to have a few beers.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, I felt pretty good. Guess I had a couple too many. Earl said it was late and we better be getting home, so he did. I had a little too much to drink, so he drove.
I see. Well, where were you and your friend drinking?
The bar right across from where we work. Earl Anderson and me. A lot of the men go there for beer right after work.
Mm-hmm. Were there quite a few men from work in there tonight?
Yeah, quite a few. I wonder if the other officer found the phone all right.
Yes, sir, I'm sure he did.
Kind of hard to find sometimes. Wife had it covered with little curtains.
That's all right, Mr. Gray. Just try to take it easy.
They're on their way.
Right. He was telling me that he and his friend Earl Anderson stopped after work. They had a couple of beers, and then the two of them drove on home.
I see.
Is that right, sir?
Yeah, that's right. Well, we got home, and I was feeling pretty good, so I asked Earl to come on in and have a little nightcap.
Mm-hmm. What time was that when you got home?
About 6:30. Earl didn't want to come in because he said Hazel would be upset with me because we were a little late. Anyway, I finally talked him into coming in with me.
Was your wife upset?
A little bit, yeah. She used to be unhappy when I was late because of dinner. But she was never unreasonable. I didn't make it a habit to stay out unusually late anyhow.
I see.
I feel terrible. It's terrible. And when we got in the house, the first thing Hazel asked me was if I'd looked at the car.
Whose car was that?
It's our car, Dodge Sedan 42. It's parked across the street now.
I wonder if we might check back here a little.
Yeah?
I thought I understood you to say that you felt that you'd had a little too much to drink, so your friend drove this Earl Anderson?
Yes, but it was his car. I guess I should have made that a little clearer. You see, we take turns driving home, either his or my car. We trade off to fight the traffic, no matter whose car.
I see. Wonder if you'd go on, please.
I didn't know what she meant by asking if I'd seen the car. She said someone had let all the air out of the back tires.
Do you know why anybody'd want to do a thing like that?
No, I had no idea who'd do that to us. Hazel said she wanted to use the car tonight. She had to go to a friend's house to help her do some remodeling or something.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't say a word about my being late. I thought the car had kind of taken her mind off it. Told her I'd go out and look and see if I couldn't fix it.
Well, did it strike you as being important that you fix the car right away?
How do you mean?
Well, sir, I was just thinking I wouldn't want to go out in all that rain unless it was something pretty important.
Well, I didn't want to either, but I figured all I'd have to do was put a little air in the tires and then drive it down to the gas station.
I see. Do you want to go on?
Earl said he'd be willing to give me a hand, so we went out to have a look at the car. One look at the tires and I knew we couldn't fix them. Somebody had cut them with a knife or something. They were beyond repair.
Do you have any idea who did that?
No, I couldn't figure it out. I have no enemies that I can think of. No one that'd do a thing like that.
What did you do then?
Earl and I figured that we'd better take the wheels off, take them down to the garage and buy some new tires. I borrowed Earl's jack and we took off the wheels. Earl said he'd be glad to take the wheels down and that I'd better go back in the house with Hazel because she might wonder what we were doing about fixing the car.
I understand.
We talked back and forth for a minute or two and I finally insisted that I go.
Where did your friend, Earl Anderson, go?
To his house. I dropped him off there.
Where does he live?
Just 2 houses down the street.
Uh-huh.
After I dropped him off, I went down and picked up 2 new tires and 2 tubes, and they mounted them on the wheels for me, and I came back.
About what time was it when you got back here to the house, do you remember?
I don't know, somewhere around 9:15, I guess.
Then what did you do?
I was going to put the wheels on, but I thought I'd better go back in the house and tell Hazel I'd have the car fixed in a minute.
Yes.
The minute I walked in the door, I knew something was wrong. It seemed like I could feel it. I called to her. She didn't answer. Went through the house, and when I got to the dining room, I found her.
We'll have to ask you to come downtown with us, sir. You'll have to give us a complete statement on this.
Is that necessary?
Yes, sir, I'm afraid it is.
All right. Wonder if it'd be all right if I called my friend Earl Anderson to go down with me. I haven't told him about this.
We'll notify him.
Well, this friend of yours, Earl Anderson.
Yeah.
When you spoke with me on the phone, didn't you say something about your best friend saying that he thought that you killed your wife?
Did I say that?
Yes, sir, you did.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way.
How did you mean it?
I've been drinking earlier tonight. Like I told you, I guess I must have gotten mixed up.
Well, and he didn't say that you killed your wife?
No, he didn't.
Well, I know there's been a strain and a pretty bad shock, Mr. Gray, but you told us that you didn't say anything to Earl Anderson about this. Now, isn't that right?
I'm so sick and upset. Is that what I told you?
Yes, sir. You asked me if it'd be all right if you called your friend. You said you hadn't told him anything about that.
I did. I called him right after I got home. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do.
Then you did mention your wife's death to him?
Yes, sir. The way you men are questioning me, your tone sounds as if you think I might have done this.
No, sir, we're just trying to get the facts straight. Right now, anybody's a suspect.
I didn't do this. I swear to God, I didn't kill my wife.
Do you have any idea who might have wanted to kill Miss Gray?
No one. Hazel and I didn't have many friends. No enemies that I know of.
I see.
You men have any ideas at all? Can you tell anything from what you've seen?
We might know a little more after the crime lab checks things over.
As soon as the lab men get here, then you can start on the case.
No, sir, we've already started. 10:15 p.m. We continued to question Leonard Gray, the husband of the dead woman, Hazel Gray. His answers seemed to follow the same general pattern of hazy confusion. Ben and I weighed the possibilities and cause for his evident confusion. He admitted that he'd been drinking earlier that evening, the tremendous shock of the death of his wife, the complete interrogation necessary in the investigation. All these things could prove to be reason enough for Leonard Gray's apparent confusion. They could all be possibilities of pretense as well. We had to be sure. We asked him about relatives and in-laws. He told us that his parents were not living, that his wife's mother and father resided in Los Angeles in the southwest section of the city. He gave us the address. He furnished us with a list of his friends and his acquaintances. He was feeling quite badly, but seemed to want us to continue with the questioning. From time to time, he would add unimportant bits of his story which he had omitted the first time through. 10:17 p.m. The crime lab crew arrived and went to work. Gray's friend, Earl Anderson, was picked up and brought to the murder house.
Any idea who did this thing?
We're working on it.
Just one thing I want to make sure of.
Yeah?
You don't suspect Len, do you?
Why do you ask that?
Well, I know how something like this can be. Len and Hazel are wonderful people, very good friends of mine. Just wanted to go on record as being able to vouch for Len. He wouldn't do a thing like that.
Is that what you wanted to tell her?
Well, yes, sir. I've known Len for about 5 years now, going on 6. We work at the same place. Just want to vouch for him, that's all.
Would you know of anyone who might have a reason to kill Mrs. Gray?
Not a soul in the world. Hazel was wonderful to everybody. She didn't have any enemies that I know of. Such a pretty girl.
We know that you're a close friend of Gray's. Maybe you'd be able to answer a couple of questions for us.
Any way I can be of help to you?
Well, how did Mr. and Miss Gray seem to get along? I mean, did they have any arguments that you know of?
Well, I really don't think I should go into their personal life in this thing.
You mean you don't want to answer?
No, sir, it isn't that. It just seems that it's really not my place to go into it.
We're going to have to question everybody that the Grays knew, all their friends and acquaintances. Appreciate any help you could give us.
Well, it isn't that I don't want to help. I know that if I answer, it's going to make Len look bad at the moment.
Well, we'll have to get all the facts from one source or another.
Well, they used to have some arguments. Guess you'd find it out from the neighbors anyway.
Were the arguments that bad?
Pretty loud, yes, sir. Oh, I don't mean to imply that Len ever struck Hazel, but she used to get quite put out with him sometimes.
Why? How do you know?
Len likes to go out with the boys. You know, booze it up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
She used to tell him that she wasn't going to put up with it any longer.
He said he never struck her.
Not that I know of, Sergeant.
Did they have these arguments often?
I don't feel right talking this way about Len behind his back.
Well, I know that as his friend, you want to get this thing cleaned up.
Yes, sir, that's right, I do. Yes, they used to have quite a few arguments. Please understand that these differences of theirs may have been loud, but I know Len would never think of hurting Hazel in any way.
I see.
Did you find out who sliced the tires on Len's car?
We're checking on it.
Wonder if that couldn't have some bearing on this.
Yeah, possibly. Anderson, we'd like to have you go back to the time you and Mr. Gray got home. Just tell us exactly what happened, would you? Will you excuse me for a minute?
Sure.
Friday, see you a minute.
Right, Harris. I'll be right back.
Okay.
We're just about through. It's all photoed. Lifted some prints. Coroner's ready to take the body, okay?
Yeah, it's all right. Get anything besides the prints?
Yeah, a small piece of blue cloth. White button attached. Looks like it was ripped off a shirt.
Where'd they find it?
Near the body. We'll see you fellas back at the office, huh?
Yeah, okay, Harris. Thank you.
I was just telling your partner, Sergeant, while you were out of the room.
Yes, sir.
In this kind of a case, if it turns out to be murder, you have to know the whereabouts of everyone concerned, don't you?
Yeah, we do.
I suppose Len told you about his going down to get the tires fixed on his car.
Yeah, he did.
Did he tell you that I was at home during that time?
Were you?
Yeah, I was. I don't mean to try to tell you your business or anything like that, but isn't that the sort of information you have to have?
Yeah, that's right.
Is there anything else you'd like to know?
Yes, sir. Who killed Hazel Gray?
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, from beginning to end, the Fatima story. Actual convincing proof that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos, the finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more long cigarette smokers are now insisting on Fatima than ever before.
So if you smoke a long cigarette, compare Fatima. You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you,
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
10:30 p.m. Tuesday, January 9th. Leonard Gray, the husband of the murdered woman, and Earl Anderson, his friend, were taken downtown to homicide for further investigation. Complete statements were taken from both men. We checked them through R&I. No record on either one. We had all prowlers and burglary calls in the vicinity of the murder house rechecked. Units working the area where the murder had occurred had picked up 2 possible suspects loitering in the neighborhood, but they were eliminated almost immediately. All of the neighbors, friends, and relatives of Mr. and Ms. Gray were contacted and questioned. No leads. All their stories tallied almost exactly with that of Earl Anderson. The Grays had been known to argue, quite frequently. The arguments were loud, but no one could say that they ever showed any physical violence toward one another. It was the opinion of the relatives and in-laws that Leonard Gray drank too much. Earl Anderson, his friend, was checked and found to be a completely reliable man. We talked with the repairman at the garage where Gray had his tires exchanged. His story was correct in every detail. Earl Anderson's wife was checked. She vouched for the Grays as well as her husband. Ben and I talked with Captain Steed for an hour. 1:45 a.m.
Well, Skipper seems to feel like I do about it.
Yeah, my husband, Gray. Huh?
Sure looks that way, doesn't it? We've been over that story 3 times with him, and we get 3 different versions.
Yeah, I know.
He's completely sober now. He should be able to tell a straight story. I don't know, Joe.
Yeah, well, I'm not completely satisfied. As far as that goes, the captain isn't either. You heard him. I'll admit Gray looks bad right now.
What do you think?
I don't know.
I got it.
All right.
Homicide, Romero. Yeah, Edwards. No, Joe's right here. You want to talk with him? Oh, fine, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Bob. George, a juvenile.
Yeah?
Picked up a couple of kids. They confessed to slashing the Gray's tire.
Well, that clears that up. Didn't seem to figure in anyway. Did it to you?
No. Unless somebody did it to draw Gray out of the house.
Well, it's cutting it pretty thin, isn't it?
Yeah. What's the time?
10 minutes to 2.
Guess I better call Leighton Print, see what they got.
Okay. Did Edwards say that they were going to hold those juveniles for us?
Yeah, I said they were bringing them down here for interrogation.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Mac. It's Romero. Yeah. Good. Yeah, right, thanks. Yeah. Got something.
What'd he say?
One of the prints they left it out there is a palm print. McLaughlin says it'll work for elimination. And something else.
Yeah.
The print was pressed in spots of blood.
The killer of Hazel Gray had left behind him a clue to his identity about which there could be no mistake. His palm print. The prints of the dead woman, Hazel Gray, were checked and eliminated. They weren't hers. 2:40 a.m. Leonard Gray and his friend Earl Anderson were taken down and fingerprinted. Their palm prints were also taken. Both men were returned to the interrogation room.
Sergeant, why'd we have to be fingerprinted?
Just routine.
It's just like I was telling you, Sergeant Grady.
What's that?
Len and I have been suspects all along, haven't we?
Well, it's just a matter of elimination. Anybody involved in any way has to be checked out.
Didn't the fellow down at the garage verify Len's story?
Yes, sir, he did.
It's the truth. I wouldn't lie at a time like this. I don't believe that anybody thinks you're lying, Len. It's just they have to be sure.
That's right.
Again. Interrogation room. This is Romero. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, right away. Crime lab, Joe. Pinker says he and Jones would like to see one of us right away.
All right, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sergeant, was there really any specific reason for us being fingerprinted?
Well, we already told you. It's just routine.
Wouldn't it be perfectly in line to find Len's fingerprints around his own house?
Well, yes, it would.
Yours could be there, too, Earl. Yeah, I was going to say that. I'm over at their house a great deal of the time.
Yeah, we know. You mentioned that.
Makes you feel kind of funny getting fingerprinted.
Doesn't make any difference what I have to go through if you can find who did this thing.
I feel the same way, Len. Think you're any closer to knowing who did it?
Well, possibly. You men have had a little time to think this over. Do either of you have anything to add to your story? Maybe some small detail you may have overlooked?
I've been thinking about it all night. I can't think of anything I haven't already told you.
Mm-hmm. You, Mr. Anderson? Is there anything that you might have forgotten to tell us?
Sorry, I was just thinking.
Yes, sir?
Couldn't have been anyone Hazel knew, could there, Len?
How do you mean?
Well, somebody maybe from her past, somebody she may not have told you about.
I don't see how that could be possible. You people checked her father and mother, didn't you?
Yes, sir, we did.
Well, that eliminates that possibility. Haven't you found any way at all of telling who it was that killed Hazel?
Yeah, we have.
Well, I think that Len here's entitled to know. I'd be glad to leave the room if you want to talk to him alone.
No, sir, that's not necessary. When we work it out, you'll both be told about it.
If there's something definite, you'd tell me, wouldn't you? I think Earl's right. I'm entitled to know.
Well, sir, we're assigned to the investigation, Mr. Gray, and we're doing everything that we can to get to the bottom of it.
Sergeant Len and I think you men know a great deal more than you've been telling him. His wife was a victim. It's his right to know how the investigation's going, isn't it?
Well, I told you before, whatever he should know, we'll tell him. Anything that we withhold from him is done for a good reason.
Joe, want to take a look at this?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Here's a report on it.
Oh, thank you. That shirt belong to either of you men?
It's not mine.
No, why? What's it mean?
I get it. Interrogation room Friday. Yeah, Dean. Right, thank you.
What about that shirt, Sergeant? What's it mean?
This button here, little piece of cloth attached, found with the body. You notice the front of the shirt here, button ripped off? See how it matches?
Yeah, it's not my shirt.
It was found in your house.
I never saw it before. It's not mine.
The palm print was.
What?
The print of your palm. Blood stains on it was found near the body.
What's he talking about, Earl? What's he mean?
I killed Hazel.
What?
I killed Hazel.
Why?
Because I loved her. I think I loved her more than you did.
You don't kill someone because you love them.
You do if you love them enough.
You ready to give us a statement, Anderson?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I can't believe all this. I ought to kill you.
All right, Gray. Hold it.
I can't believe it. My best friend.
I wasn't your best friend.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 4th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, let me tell you how to size up king-size cigarettes. First, take a Fatima, and then any other king-size cigarette. Side by side, the two may seem to look alike, but they're not, because no other king-size cigarette has Fatima quality. That's right. In Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that starts with a blend of the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos and follows up with extra mildness, a better flavor and aroma. Now, if you haven't tried Fatimas yet, take my advice. Buy a pack. Compare Fatima. You'll find, just as I have, that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Earl Taylor Anderson was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
At home and overseas, in camps, hospitals, and military installations, and in battle areas, Red Cross personnel work for the welfare, recreation, and morale of those who defend the nation. Today, Red Cross is expanding these services to keep pace with the rapid growth of our nation's defense forces. Your support of Red Cross makes this expansion possible. Remember, when you give to the Red Cross, your gift is a lift to our fighting men.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Our thanks to Quick Magazine for this week's salute to Dragnet's Jack Webb. Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Hear a gold smuggling case on Counter Spy next over most NBC stations.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's transcribed story, They've Got More Than Coffee in Brazil.
Her name was Irene Centino. The lady from Brazil, the Lion called her. He figured it for an easy trace job, something for missing persons. Only when we do them, the Lion gets paid. Well, the program said it was simple. Except before we wound it up, there were a couple of added attractions. A doctor who didn't do any doctoring, a nurse with a built-in temperature, and a couple of blackouts that were meant to be permanent. And guess what? In that last part, I was supposed to be the star. Anyhow, it all began late last Monday. I was home. My boss, Anthony J. Lyon, knocked on my door. I opened it, and that's when I made my first mistake.
Jeffrey, I'm glad I found you in. I'm just on my way home from the office.
You could have kept on going. I'm out of bourbon.
Oh, now, Jeffrey, I didn't come by just for that. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right. As a matter of fact, I want your advice, Regan.
Cut out starches and get some exercise.
Yes.
What else?
Yeah, what would you do if you traveled 10,000 miles just to see your sister and then couldn't find her?
I'd give up the search.
You would? Why?
I haven't got a sister.
That's not what I'm talking about. You'd go to missing persons, wouldn't you? Sure you would. But if you knew your family in a foreign country would become greatly alarmed at this sort of notoriety, you'd look for your sister in another way. You'd hire a good private detective. Now, isn't that right?
Come on, Fatso, get to the point.
We have a new client. Her name's Irene Centino. She's from Brazil. Real fine family, Regan. Coffee. She's engaged the Lion Detective Bureau to locate her younger sister, Carmen.
I'm no St. Bernard.
You'll do till I can feed one. Oh, I know you've been working hard lately, but, Jeffrey, this is one of those occasions when I'm proud to be a part of our profession. We have an opportunity to help a young lady in desperate straits and, at the same time, secure goodwill from South America.
Ever hear of the State Department?
Of course I have, but they can't do it all alone. It's up to individual citizens to take responsibility, too.
And that's the only reason you want me to find her sister?
Absolutely. Now, Miss Centino is taking an apartment at this address. Here, go see her, comfort her, let her know the Lion Detective Bureau and the United States of America will do everything possible to locate her lost sister.
That all?
That's enough.
What'd she pay you?
$200.
Yeah. That's a lot of green to get in advance.
She insisted. She's very anxious to find that girl.
Well, watch out her check doesn't bounce.
It won't. She paid cash.
The $200 was already making a lump in the Lion's coat, and I knew the next spot for it was his mattress. Well, maybe that's the reason he's a bachelor. I left him in my place and drove over to the address he'd given me. It was one of those Beverly Hills apartments with a long, glassy look. Irene Centino's apartment was on the second floor. She was a tall, brown-haired girl without a smile. She wore glasses. And when she talked, she sounded sad, like a banjo player with a paper pick.
Thank you so much for coming over, Mr. Regan. I've been very upset all day. I just had to do something about Carmen.
Your sister?
Yes, my younger sister. She's the one I came here to see.
Yeah, I heard.
It's an awful vacant feeling. I thought she'd meet me at the airport, and then she wasn't there. And when I went to her address, we were very close.
She's from Rio, too?
Yes, of course.
How's her English?
Well, the same as mine. We were both educated in the United States.
Where?
Back east. Vassar.
You older than Carmen?
Yes, 2 years. She's 25 now. Carmen left home a year ago, you see. She's always been very independent, and well, I'm afraid something might have happened to her.
Like what?
Well, I don't know. Young girl, pretty, I don't know. And as I say, she's so independent. I received this letter from her a few days ago. It was the first word since she left home.
It came this way?
Well, yes.
No envelope?
Oh, well, I threw that away. She wrote her address there at the end, and I didn't see any need for keeping the envelope.
And, she wasn't at this address?
That's what frightens me. There isn't any such address.
Yeah. What does your sister Carmen look like?
Why, I gave her a snapshot to Mr. Lyne. Didn't he give it to you?
He forgets things.
Oh, no matter. I have another. Of course, it's old and not very good. I think it's right here in this suitcase. You'll pardon things going all over, but I haven't had time to do any... Oh, here it is. Right here.
Ah, she's blonde, huh?
Well, a little lighter than mine. We're the same height, too. We used to wear each other's clothes. Oh, Mr. Regan, you will be able to find her, won't you?
I don't think you want me to.
Mr. Regan, are you trying to be funny?
You hand me a snapshot so old it could be anybody and a letter that says nothing, and you want me to turn up a blonde.
I thought those would be leads. She mentions the name of a doctor. I thought you
Is he the man?
The man?
She left home a year ago. She wasn't following the crops.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was a man in it. If I'm going to do any good, I've got to have it all, lady.
All right, that was a man.
Yeah.
His name was Frank Martin. I met him once in Mexico City. She thought she was in love with him. But he has nothing to do with it, Mr. Regan. I'm sure he has nothing to do with it.
How do you know?
Because I looked him up. He lives out on Laurel Avenue.
You talked to him?
No, but I asked questions around. I'm completely satisfied he knows nothing about it. Look, if you'd see this doctor my sister mentioned...
You want me to find your sister?
Yes.
But you don't want me to see this Frank Martin.
I didn't say that.
You didn't have to, lady. Okay. You've got a report when I got something. Oh, there's one more thing.
What's that?
How long did you stop off on the way to shop in New York?
What makes you think I'd do that?
Labels. When you leave your clothes strewn around, labels show. There's no Saks Fifth Avenue in Rio. When I walked out, her mouth was wide open like she was trying to scream. Only nothing came out. I hung around the door outside for a minute to see if she'd use the phone. But when nothing happened, I looked up Frank Martin in the city directory and drove over to Laurel. A 2-story apartment building the color of a bride's blush. It was wrapped around a swimming pool, too small for people, too big for birds. Martin's name wasn't on the mailbox, so I tried the manager's door. His voice sounded like a beer truck in low gear.
Well, come on in, Pilgrim. You don't know me, do you?
I just got here.
I played the Palace in 26. Oh, them was the days.
Write it up, sell at the movies.
Oh, them slobs. Central Casting ain't called me in 4 years.
You got a card?
AFRA, SAG, and the Musicians Union. I play the French horn. And none of them call me. Now, I figure it's television. No union yet, but... by the way, what are you doing here, buddy?
Looking for a man named Frank Martin.
Now, look, I like Frank. You got trouble, stay away from him. He bruises easy.
And you're just a mother to him.
He's a nice laddie. Remember what I tell you, huh?
Sure.
Come on, I'll show you.
Thanks.
That's him.
Yeah, he stays in one key.
All the time. A low one.
Sounds like.
Second door on the right.
Thanks.
See ya, Pilgrim.
Come on in. It's unlocked.
Your name Frank Martin?
Yep. Who wants to know?
My name's Regan. I'm a private investigator with Lion Detective Bureau.
Wrong steer, Gumshoe. I don't need one.
Not looking for work. I'm looking for you.
What'd you say it was, Regan?
Yeah.
R-E-G-A-N? Regan? Regan. Just wrote that one. Cute, huh?
I'm, looking for a friend of yours.
Second ago you were looking for me. Now you're looking for a friend of mine. Frank Martin never had a friend. Who are we talking about?
Carmen Santino.
Oh. How is Carmen these days?
I don't know.
But you said you were a detective.
I did.
You sound like an amateur.
You sound like a guy with a chip on his shoulder.
I sound like a lot of things. You trying to get tough, baby?
I figure's why your name isn't on the mailbox.
Yeah?
Nobody'd ever write you.
I'll, skip that, Regan. Who hired you to do what?
Sister's in town. She's looking for Carmen.
Didn't know Carmen had a sister. What else?
You're the boyfriend. Where is she?
Yeah, the boyfriend. That's real good. Let me tell you what Carmen's like, Regan. Eyes just right. Hair just right. Everything just right. Everything just right. Wait till you see her in a bathing suit. That's something, brother.
She, isn't wearing one in this picture.
Bad picture, Regan. You got no idea how bad. Hardly looks like her, like she is. Ever met him like that?
Sometimes.
About a year ago, I was sitting right here and the phone rings. It's Carmen. You know, we talked about football, marriage. We were going to be married, Regan, only she decided all of a sudden she didn't want it. Just like that. It was her idea. I haven't seen her since.
You tried?
Once. She moved. No forwarding address, that's all.
Makes good story.
But you don't believe it. Now, let me tell you the reason we broke up. It's a dilly.
My hearing's good.
Well, you heard about the happy couple, but the guy keeps getting loaded, can't lay off. This is different. Big switch.
Carmen.
Yeah. Yeah, Carmen.
And why she was seeing a doctor?
Carmen seeing a doctor? Look, why don't you get out of here?
Why?
Because we don't like each other.
There's such a thing something might have happened to Carmen. She's scared.
Some of us are scared part of the time, and then somebody makes a lot of noise looking for somebody, then everybody gets scared. You scared, Regan?
Yeah.
Oh? About what?
Carmen Santino. I might be looking too late. Well, what he gave me filled in the cast, but the plot wasn't getting any clearer. So I looked up the doctor Carmen had mentioned in her letter. His name was Kingston, and the only address was a place out in Encino. It was a ranch house built all over the top of the hill like whipped cream. Figured he was getting over-sealing for his pills. I parked my car by the gate and followed the flagstones up to the front door. When I pressed a button, I heard something that sounded like chamber music. A blonde girl wearing a red dress that must have been riveted for her opened the door about the middle of the second chorus.
Well, I like Blue Surge. It has an effect on me.
It's the only thing in the closet.
You fill it out nice, but you don't look sick.
I want to see the doctor anyway.
Come in and we'll talk about it. My, you are tall, Mr.
Regan.
Regan.
Who are you? Florence Nightingale?
I hold the doctor's stethoscope. My name's Vivian Lytell.
Mind telling him I'm here?
Yes, he's busy.
So are you, lady.
He'll be busy quite a while. He just opened another bottle.
Oh, I'm right on time.
You're so eager.
Oh, wait.
Rex isn't sociable like me. He drinks alone. He gets more that way. Let me entertain you.
Easy, Angel. I don't know how to fix a fracture.
I've already got a man who can do that. I want one with brains.
What's the matter with the doc?
He keeps his in a bottle. Hasn't used him for a long time now.
He's done all right.
This? He'd be selling papers if his wife hadn't left him a good insurance policy.
What's the matter? Don't you like his money?
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's just that a girl has feelings, too.
Yeah. They show.
Oh, I'm glad I met you. We're going to have some nice afternoons.
Thought you worked for a living.
I got lots of free time. Besides, I should have at least one outside interest.
Keep looking. You'll find one.
You smile good, but you talk nasty.
I only came to see Kingston.
There's the phone. Call and make an appointment. Now, get out.
Vivian, about this... Oh, I didn't know you had company. I'll talk to you another time.
Just a minute, Doctor. This is Mr. Regan. He's your company, but he doesn't have a business card.
Look, Mr. Regan, I'm no longer in practice, just doing a search on my own. I have all the medical equipment I can use, and I turned all my patients over to another doctor.
I know one you forgot.
Oh? Well, tell me who.
Carmen Santino.
Go ahead, Vivian. I'll speak to Mr. Regan.
Watch yourself, Rex. He doesn't know how to be nice.
It'll only take a minute.
I'll crack some ice. You'll need a drink.
Very fine, nurse.
Yeah. It's a nice uniform.
Working on my own. We're very casual. You said I had a patient named Carmen what was it?
Carmen Santino.
I'm afraid you're mistaken, Mr. Regan. Who told you that?
I read about you in a letter.
Must have been another Kingston.
There's only one with a license.
Are you a relative of this girl?
Friend.
You're a detective, aren't you?
Yeah. Want to show me your files someday?
Why not today? This way. I keep them right here on my lap. Help yourself, Mr. Regan.
Thanks.
Want a drink?
Too early.
You don't mind if I have one?
Your house?
Find anything?
Not under Santino. Could have used another name.
That's possible. When was I supposed to have treated her?
Oh, about a year ago, according to this letter. Here. This is a picture.
No. I've never treated anyone who looks like that.
Sure?
Positive. What was her illness?
Might have had something to do with that stuff you're drinking. They, die from it sometimes.
I see. You can't see it from this window, but just over the hill, my wife's buried. I had special permission from the county to bury her on my property. She was a great comfort to me when she was alive. I haven't been the same since she passed away, and well, that's why I'm no longer in practice.
I didn't ask for that.
But you did, with your eyes. You're a strange man. Do you enjoy making a living this way, prying into other people's lives, searching for what's best left alone?
Is he still here, Rex?
Yes, Vivian, but he's just leaving. You can find your way.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Blue Surge. You were a real disappointment.
Don't give up. I'll be back.
Don't bother, Regan. The doctor will be out.
The whole thing looked phony, like a fan dancer in long underwear. But when I left the two of them, I was beginning to get an idea, just beginning. I walked over the side of the hill to look at the grave. It was there, all right, like he said. Irene Kingston, 1922, 1948. Maybe that explained it. Maybe it didn't. I was remembering those New York labels I'd seen on Irene Santino's clothes when I left there and looked up a friend of mine in the CAA. He checked into it and told me nobody named Santino had come in from Rio on any flight last week. And the immigration people didn't have a passport or visa record on her either. I was home thinking about all this when my phone began ringing. It was Irene Santino. She did all the talking.
I tried to get you at your office, Mr. Regan, but no one answered. I had to speak to you.
What about?
I found Carmen.
Yeah?
Rather, Carmen found me. I feel sort of foolish now, calling you people in and all that. Well, she came right to my apartment. Can you imagine? She's been looking for me.
What about her address?
Oh, that was another silly thing. Only it was a mistake. She's not very good at details. Please thank Mr. Lyon for his kindness. And, Mr. Regan.
Yeah?
It's all confidential. I wouldn't want any of this to get to the wrong people.
You know some of the wrong kind?
Doesn't everyone? Well, goodbye.
Oh, Jeffrey, you run any expenses on the Santino thing?
No.
Good. It's all over.
Well, how do you know? It
just came from missing persons. There's a cop there named Perini. Got an eye like an eagle.
Talk sense.
I had that other picture of the Santino dame with me. He took one look at it and opened up a file.
What kind of file?
Dead and unclaimed.
What do you mean?
The county buried her. Carmen Santino's been dead a year.
This is CBS, and you're listening to They've Got More Than Coffee in Brazil, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, there were enough angles to write a new geometry book. Irene Santino gave me a picture and a letter and started me digging for her sister, Carmen. I meet a guy with a piano and a doctor with a bottle. Everybody talks, but nobody says anything. And then Irene calls me off, says she found her sister, only the Lion walks in with a different version. Missing persons say Carmen Santino's holding down a spot in the county cemetery. I figured somebody was having nightmares. I didn't say anything to the Lion and went down to the Hall of Records. There was a little guy sitting at the desk in vital statistics. His fingernails were dirty and he was reading a dictionary. He must have been at a good park because he looked mad when I interrupted him.
We're not on a bus. Quit shoving.
I want some information.
I'm a public servant. That's what I'm here for. What kind of information?
Get to the death files, will you?
You're a morbid guy. We got a lot of stuff on births and marriages. Ask me something about that.
A girl named Carmen Santino died about a year ago. Tell me what from.
Okay. How do you spell it?
Just like it sounds.
Santino, huh? Sabatini, Sanaki, Sanford. That's what happened to old Sandy. No wonder I ain't seen him around.
Come on, get with it, will you?
Here it is. Santino. Date of death, 15 October 1948. Cause of death?
Alcoholic poisoning.
Yeah. How'd you get it?
Never mind. Who signed the certificate?
Rex J. Kingston, M.D.
Okay. Here's one more for you. Look up Irene Kingston.
The doc's wife?
Look it up.
Okay. Kingsley. Here. Kingston, Irene. 13 October 1948.
Cause of death?
You guessed it again. The same. Alcoholic poisoning. Hey, this guy couldn't keep a patient.
Well, that filled it in. I could see the plot, but I wasn't sure of the ending. So I didn't waste any time getting over to Irene Santino's place. But I wasn't fast enough. The door was halfway open when I got there. All the company had left, but Irene was still around. She was sitting there looking at the phone, like it was all she had to think about.
Mr. Regan.
What's so funny?
Everything. Everything, Mr. Regan. Oh, excuse me for not getting up. I didn't expect you. I told you I found my sister, didn't I?
Yeah, you told me, but you didn't tell me she was dead.
I didn't even tell you that I haven't got a sister. Did I? Did I?
Come on, lady, give it to me. What are you talking about?
Look, this little red spot on my arm. Doesn't look like much, does it? But just wait, Mr. Regan. You just wait. You just wait. Wait.
I found a doctor on the floor below. He grabbed his black bag and went to work on her. She quieted down to a slow inside giggle, then went out altogether. The doctor got hold of an ambulance and carted her off to a hospital. They just wheeled her out the door when the Lion showed up.
Jeffrey, did I see an ambulance out front?
That's right. Your client was in it.
What?
Yeah, somebody stuffed her full of something that made her giggle.
I don't understand all this at all. I stopped by home to change to my dark suit so I could come by and bring Miss Santino the news of her sister's death, and what do I walk in?
You can save your tears, Fatso. She didn't come from Brazil, and she wasn't rich.
That woman gave me $200 cash. There was nothing unreliable about her. We had a contract.
You can use it for confetti.
Now see here, Jeffrey.
Look, Lion, look at this picture.
Carmen Santino. I have one just like it.
All right, draw some glasses on it. Add about 6 or 7 years.
I don't understand you, Jeffrey. We're talking business, and all at once we're playing games.
When I came to see her tonight, she wasn't wearing her glasses. She looked a lot like the dame in this picture.
Of course she did, naturally. That's her own sister.
She never had a sister.
Never had a sister? Then who did the county bury?
That's what I'm going to find out from a guy named Rex Kingston.
I had a feeling you'd be back. I built a fire.
I forgot the marshmallows.
Come on in. I'm not mad anymore.
I'm still looking for your doctor.
Let me take care of you. I have a way with men.
Didn't we do all this once before?
Oh, it's night now. You can ask me some questions. I know some swell answers.
I'll bet.
How do you like it, Jim?
Your way?
That's better. Now, let's have a nice, quiet evening. Just you and me.
I want to see him.
There's been a famine of men like you.
You don't look underfed. I said I want to see him.
Oh, all right. We could have had such a nice evening. Rex?
What is it?
Mr. Regan's here again.
Yes. Hello, Regan. Didn't I tell you I'd be out?
Yeah, you told me that, but you didn't tell me what I wanted to know. I had to go to Vital Statistics to get that.
What?
You don't have anything in your files about Carmen Santino, but you signed a death certificate.
Now, you get this, Regan. You saw my files once, and I don't have to open them again to anyone who comes here without a warrant, and you haven't got one.
But I know where I can get one. When I go to the city attorney's office and tell them what I've got, they'll have somebody out here to exhume that grave on the hill.
What do you mean, Regan?
Irene Kingston died 2 days before Carmen Santino of the same thing. Dr. Kingston signed both certificates. He collects on his wife's insurance, only I don't think his wife really died. I think that extra grave up on the hill is window dressing.
And if my wife didn't die, Regan, where is she now?
I don't know. She could be at a downtown hospital, posing under the name of Irene Santino. It was a shot in the dark, but it brought results. Kingston swung a lamp base around that connected on the side of my head. When I came to, I was in a white room, back of the house. Tried to move my head, but it felt like a grand piano. Nothing else worked either, so I just lay there. Pretty soon somebody began putting something damp on my face. I began to see better. Vivian was standing there with Kingston. He looked sick, like an ostrich with a sore throat. He had a needle in his hand.
I can't. You can do it all right, Rex. Go ahead.
That's the same treatment you tried to give Irene?
You should have stayed out, Regan.
I wanted one more look at you, baby.
I hate to see the nice ones go, but it'll be all over in a minute. All right, Rex.
Give me a drink, Vivian. Gotta have a drink.
It won't help. I found Irene in time. She's gonna live. She's gonna talk.
Go ahead, Rex. Give it to him. Then we'll clear out.
But Irene's still alive. I didn't kill her.
You'll do better this time.
I can't.
Go ahead.
No, I won't.
I said go ahead or I'll shoot you, Rex. I'll shoot you if you don't.
No, you don't. It's all over, Vivian. It's all over.
Vivian had the gun, but Kingston was too much for her. All of a sudden it began going off. Vivian started to look pale. And then she went down. Slow. Easy. She deserved it. That what you're going to tell the state?
Regan, is Irene really going to live?
That's what the doctor says.
Good, Regan. No, don't try to move. I gave you a shot of preparatory solution. You won't be able to move for another hour. I suppose I ought to run.
You won't get far.
I know. But listen to me. Irene, she's my wife. She's innocent of all this. When you tell the police the real story...
I haven't got it all.
You had enough?
It started with Carmen Santino.
She stumbled in one night. She was very ill. She dropped dead before I could do anything for her.
Alcohol?
Yes. But before she died, she kept talking about a man named Martin.
Lives over on Laurel.
Yes, I was going to get in touch with him. But I had a better idea. She looked a great deal like my wife, Irene. It was quite remarkable.
The insurance.
Yes. Irene didn't want to do it, but she loved me, so she finally disappeared. I used one body for 2 death certificates and buried an empty box up on the hill. I was supposed to join Irene later.
See. Vivian.
Yes. Vivian came along. I was drinking one night and she found out the truth. I was trapped. It would have stayed that way if Irene hadn't hired you.
And I was supposed to scare you with that story about her sister in Brazil.
It worked, too.
That guy Martin said. Somebody gets scared. And then...
Regan, can you hear me?
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Stuff's making me sleepy.
It'll wear off. I'm going now, Regan. See that Irene gets a fair shake?
I'll try. He picked up a bottle and started out the door. He didn't even look down at Vivian's body on the floor. I tried to move. Like he said, nothing worked. It was 2 more hours before I could get to the phone and call homicide. It was 2 more days before I talked to the Lion.
Sure. I'm sending it right over. Yes, of course. Jeffrey, my boy, how are you feeling? Better?
Well, the fog's gone out of my head, if that's what you mean. Otherwise, I feel lousy.
Oh, don't take it so hard, my boy. All in a day's work. Besides, there's the brighter side. Yes, indeed.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, they got that Dr. Kingston. He only got as far as Las Vegas. Crime doesn't pay, Jeffrey. Crime just does not pay.
Doesn't, huh? What's this?
Now, wait a minute. Give me that.
Application. Consolidated insurance.
It's nothing, I tell you.
You mean to tell me we're going to try to collect a reward?
We exposed an insurance fraud. Every insurance company pays a little something for that. We had expenses. You don't know how hard I've worked on this, Jeffrey.
Here, take it back.
Well, what's the matter? You look like it's something illegal.
Crime does not pay.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is directed and transcribed by Sterling Tracy and stars Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Tonight's script was by E. Jack Newman. Original music is by Dick Arant. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A middle-aged businessman in your city is robbed and beaten senseless. The hold-up men escape. The victim refuses to report the crime. Your job? Investigate. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 8th. It was overcast in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. It was 11:23 a.m. when we got to 700 South Hill Boulevard, the Butler Accordion Studios.
What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. It must be upstairs, I guess, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there it is. Main office, second floor.
Yeah.
Who is that, Joe?
What?
That portrait up there on the wall.
Just a minute. Some printing underneath here.
Nice painting.
It says Damien, the father of the accordion, Vienna, 1829.
What do you know about that? Must be it down there, huh?
Yeah.
Want to try?
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
Are you Louis Butler?
Yeah, that's right. And can I help you?
Police officers, Mr. Butler. I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Is your name Friday?
Yes, sir, that's right. This is my partner, Sergeant Romero.
How do you do?
I'm sorry, Sergeant. I told you on the phone. I just don't want to talk about it.
We'd appreciate it if we could have your cooperation. It's a pretty important matter.
Well, I'm the only one concerned in it as far as I can see. I just as soon forget the whole thing. Besides, I got a pretty busy day ahead of me.
Well, we'd like to straighten you out, Mr. Butler. It concerns a lot more people than just yourself. Now, we're not going to take much of your time. Just a few questions, that's all.
I told you on the phone, Sergeant. I don't want to talk about it. Can't you just forget about the whole thing?
It's only going to take a few minutes, sir.
All right. Come in if you want.
Thank you. Thank you.
Place is in kind of a mess. Wife's away to mother's. Oh, you can sit down if you want.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, Pepper. I'll feed you. Just a minute.
It's a nice cat you got there. Siamese?
A little bit, yeah. It's my wife's. Don't care too much for cats myself. All right, Pepper. Now, wait a minute. Get your nose out there. Here you go, Pepper. That ought to hold you for a while.
Look at that, Joe. Sure goes for that milk, huh?
Yeah, sure does.
You're going to have to make it fast, Sergeant. I got an appointment for lunch downtown.
All right, sir. I'd just like to have you elaborate on what Dr. Hart told us. Is he your family doctor, by the way?
Yeah, that's right. He had no business calling you in the first place. I told him I didn't want it to get out. What did he tell you?
He said you came to him for treatment night before last, and you told him you had been beaten up and robbed. He treated you for cuts and bruises about the face and head.
No, it was nothing. Didn't amount to anything.
Well, was there actually a robbery, Mr. Butler?
Believe me, Sergeant, it didn't amount to anything. I don't even want to go into it.
How much did the robbery involve? Money, I mean.
I'd rather not say. I don't want any fuss made about it. That's why I didn't report it. Just isn't worth it to me.
We understand the hold-up men took more than $800 from you. Wouldn't you like to get that money back?
I don't want to be nasty about this thing, but I was the one who was held up. Now, if I don't want to press the case, I don't see why anyone else should worry about it. It was my money.
How about the beating that the thieves gave you?
It's nothing serious. It's like I told you on the phone. I want to forget about the whole thing.
Well, it must have involved more than just a few scratches from the looks of you, and the doctor had to treat you.
Take my word for it, please. I'm all right. I don't want to press charges.
Appreciate it if you'd give us some kind of an explanation, Mr. Butler.
Why? I don't want to bother, that's all. There's nothing to explain.
Well, you'll have to admit that this is a little unusual. Somebody beats you up, slugs you, takes $800 from you, and you don't want to do anything about it?
You're going to have to excuse me a minute. I have one of my accordion students down the hall in the practice room. Almost time for him to go. I have to give him his lesson for next week.
All right, sure, go right ahead.
It'll only be a minute.
How about that?
Yeah.
Acts like he's scared to death.
Well, whoever it was, they gave him a going over. Half of his head in bandages, face all swollen.
Sure something phony.
Well, he's not going to be much help unless we can talk him into a crime report. Huh?
Somebody's got to him. I'll bet on it. Oh, hi there, Kitty. Hi, Kitty.
I've been thinking it over, officers. Sorry I had to come out here, go to all this trouble, but I just as soon forget the whole thing. I don't even want to talk about it if you don't mind.
We don't mean to high pressure you, Butler, but we'd like some kind of an explanation.
Well, can't you understand? I just don't want to make a big fuss about it. I'd like to have you go along with my feelings in the matter. It's my affair, isn't it?
No, sir, it's ours, too. Half a dozen people like yourself have been beaten up and robbed in this neighborhood, all in the last 5 weeks. Now, if we can find the thieves, we can put a stop to it. We can make sure the same thing doesn't happen to your neighbors.
Well, they're going to have to look out for themselves. I'm not getting tied up in a big investigation. The neighbors don't worry about me.
Pretty goes a little further than that.
Huh?
You've been beaten up and robbed once. How do you know it isn't going to happen again?
Well, it's not, that's all. I'll make sure it doesn't.
How? What's going to stop the same thieves from knocking you over again?
Look, if it's all the same to you, I want to forget about this. I'm going to have to be running along. It's getting late.
No, there's just one more thing, Butler. When the doctor was treating you the other night, this Dr. Hart, he says you told him that you knew who the hold-up men were. Now, is that right?
No, he got it all mixed up. I didn't mean it that way.
How did you mean it?
I'm in a funny position. I just can't explain, that's all. I can't take the chance.
Did the hold-up men threaten you?
I can't talk about it. Give me a break, please.
You're making a mistake, mister. Play ball with those thieves and they'll ruin you.
It's not only me, it's my family, too. I'm not going to take the chance.
If they threatened you and your family, you're taking more of a chance keeping quiet about it. They'll bleed you white. Blackmail, robbery, anything you can think of. Now, this has happened before.
Can't you see the spot I'm in? I know who they are. I know what they can do. I got a wife to think about. Would you put your family in that position?
You're buying protection from a couple of hoods. Now, figure it out. How much is it worth? How far can you trust them?
If you pick them up, they'll know I told you. I don't want anything to happen. Can't you see that I haven't any choice? What else can I do?
Help us put the thieves where they belong. You'll have all the protection you need till they're locked up.
It's a big order. I don't know.
You and your wife will be under 24-hour guard. Now, that's a promise.
How long would that have to go on?
Long enough to bring them to trial and convict them. Now, how about it?
They warned me about telling the police. They said they'd get both of us if I did, me and my wife. Now, they meant it, too. They'd get us. What can you do about it?
Get them first. After another hour of talking, we finally persuaded the robbery victim, Louis Butler, to come downtown with us. He dictated a full statement about the holdup and filed a crime report. He told us he'd been robbed and slugged late at night a few blocks from his music studio. $820 had been taken from him by two bandits, both of whom were armed, both of whom he recognized. He said one of the men was a Marvin Carter, a former bartender at a neighborhood tavern. The other was Ralph Quincy, a merchant seaman. We went across the street and met with Deputy District Attorney Fred Henderson. The next day, the case was presented to the grand jury and a true bill was returned. The two suspects, Marvin Carter and Ralph Quincy, were indicted on one count of armed robbery. That afternoon, both of them were booked at the main jail and then released after posting a required bail of $10,000. 4:30 p.m. Ben and I went back to the office and met with Captain Didion.
How are you making out on it?
Pretty fair shape, Skipper. The arraignment's set for 2 weeks from Thursday.
How about protection for the victim?
Well, it's all set up. Butler and his wife are under 24-hour guard. 3 teams of men on it.
There's 2 thieves getting out on bail. It's not going to make it any easier. Who are you working with from the DA's office?
Henderson. Seems to think we've got enough to convict both men.
What makes him so sure?
Well, for one thing, we got a line on a couple of good witnesses to the holdup.
Excuse me. Robbery, Didion. Yeah, Mike. No, I'll check it before I leave. Right. What was that about witness?
A man by the name of Bartlett runs a drugstore. He and his son were in the neighborhood when Louis Butler was held up. They're supposed to have spotted the two thieves running from the scene.
Have you talked to them yet?
Just over the phone. We've got an appointment with them at 6 o'clock tonight to take their statements.
I guess I don't have to tell you. Stay as close to this thing as you can. If we miss this time, we may not get another chance. You know as well as anyone how tough it's been reaching these thieves.
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't be this far along if Butler didn't decide to cooperate and file charges.
I wish I knew how many victims there are in this thing just like Butler. People we don't even know about, so scared they don't dare file charges.
Guess there's a dozen of them anyway.
I can't figure. People hire a police force on salary to protect them and their property, then they turn around and try to make a deal with a bunch of hoods, buy them off. How far have you gotten on the hold-up gang?
Well, how do you mean?
The two men you've got tabbed, Carter and Quincy. Anyone else working with them?
Possible, not sure yet. Both Carter and Quincy have juvenile records. That's about it. We're still checking on them.
Robbery, did he? Yeah, Tom. That's right. No, I'll tell them. They're here with me now. Right, thank you. It started already.
How's that?
The victim, Louis Butler, he got a phone call at his house a few minutes ago.
Yeah?
Figured it was one of the hold-up gang. They gave Butler a choice.
What'd he say?
Either he drops the charges or they'll kill him.
5:30 p.m. Captain Didion issued orders that the two suspects in the case, Marvin Carter and Ralph Quincy, be placed under 24-hour surveillance. An additional team of men was assigned to guard Louis Butler. Each officer was carefully instructed to take all possible precautions to prevent the robbery victim and his wife from being harmed in any way. 6 p.m. Ben and I met with the two witnesses to the holdup, a drugstore proprietor, Sam Bartlett, and his teenage son, Harold. They told us that they'd been in the immediate vicinity the night Butler was robbed and that they'd gotten a good look at the two gunmen as they ran from the scene of the holdup. Bartlett and his son, Harold, identified the suspects as Marvin Carter and Ralph Quincy. Statements were taken and both witnesses were warned to maintain absolute secrecy about their part in the case. Next day, we made arrangements to have the druggist and his son subpoenaed for the Superior Court arraignment. 6 days went by. Thursday, October 17th, 8 a.m. We checked in the office and found a message waiting for us.
What is it, Joe?
The druggist's son, Harold Bartlett.
What about him?
Found him in an alley, 3 o'clock this morning.
What?
Yeah, slugged and beaten. Late that afternoon, Ben and I received permission from the doctors to visit briefly with our witness, 17-year-old Harold Bartlett. His injuries were painful but not critical. The beating he'd received was nothing less than brutal. His left forearm had been broken, and he'd been beaten viciously about the face and chest. He told us that he was on his way home from a neighborhood movie just before midnight when two men jumped him from behind on a deserted street.
Well, I drove around some, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. There must have been at least 3 men in the car.
Why do you say that?
Well, there were two in the back seat with me. Somebody else had to be doing the driving.
Mm-hmm. And it had to be a sedan or a club coupe.
I guess so, yeah. After we drove around a while, they stopped the car and then they began slugging me. Didn't say a word the whole time, just started slugging me. I asked them why. They just kept slugging me.
I see.
At first, I think they were hitting me with their fist. It felt like something a lot harder. A piece of iron or metal or something. That's when I grabbed the cloth off of my face and I started to holler.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Oh, I guess nobody heard me. Nobody came anyway. One of the men swore at me and grabbed my arm. Hit it with something. Sure sore.
They didn't say anything to you all this time?
No. Not till just before they pushed me out of the car. It seemed like I was at that car for hours.
When they started to talk to you, Harry, what'd they say?
It was about that robbery my father and me saw. The one you talked to us about last week?
Mm-hmm. What'd they say about it?
I said, maybe this will help you keep your mouth shut. Stay out of other people's business. They said that a couple of times. They said a lot more had happened to Dad and me if we went to the police. If we were witnesses at that trial.
You remember if the men called each other by name?
No, I don't. I don't remember anyway.
Well, son, you remember when we talked to you and your father last week, we told you to say nothing about the case to anyone, didn't we?
I remember, Sergeant. I guess it's my fault.
Well, did you tell other people that you were a witness in the case? Did you mention it in public?
I guess I did, yeah. I didn't think it was that important. I guess I talked about it quite a bit. I'm sorry. It's my fault.
That's all right, Harry. If you remember it from now on, it'll save a lot more trouble.
I remember, Sergeant. Those two men last night scared me for a while. Guess most of it was talk, huh?
How do you mean, sir?
They never warned me about staying away from the cops. They said they'd kill me and my dad if we were witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
They were probably just trying to scare us, huh? They were fooling?
Well, you had a sample last night, son.
Yeah?
Were they fooling? After we left Harry Bartlett, we went back to the office and arranged for a 24-hour guard to be assigned to the teenage boy and his father. A thorough investigation of the attack on the boy failed to turn up any leads. On the surface, the two robbery suspects, Carter and Quincy, were not involved. During the week that followed, we heard of no further threats or attacks, either on the victim, Louis Butler, or the witnesses involved in the case. Ben and I worked with Deputy District Attorney Henderson, preparing the case against the two suspects. 2 days before the trial opened in Superior Court, we got an urgent call.
Yeah, I know, but how did it happen? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're all right, Tom, thanks.
Well, what's the trouble?
Couldn't be worse. No victim.
What do you mean?
Mr. and Mrs. Butler have disappeared.
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, from beginning to end, the Fatima story. Actual convincing proof that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean, gold and yellow package, carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more long cigarette smokers are now insisting on Fatima than ever before.
So if you smoke a long cigarette, compare Fatima. You'll find they now cost the same, but your first puff will tell you,
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Tuesday, November 5th, 9 a.m. The trial of robbery suspects Marvin Carter and Ralph Quincy opened in Superior Court, Department 88. The complaining witness, Louis Butler, failed to appear. For 2 solid days, we'd been busy checking all of the Butler's friends and relatives in the city. They couldn't help. Each time the Butlers had left their residence, they'd been under surveillance. We'd had an understanding with them that in the event that they were in their automobile, and for some reason the officers assigned to them lost them in traffic, the Butlers would immediately return to their home. On the night of November 3rd, under the pretext of going to a neighborhood theater, the Butlers made a right-hand turn from a left-hand lane of traffic, so it became obvious that they were trying to elude the officers following them. A check was made at their home as prearranged, and they failed to return. When they failed to appear for the trial, a bench warrant was issued by Superior Court for the missing couple. Deputy District Attorney Henderson asked the court to grant a delay in order to find the Butlers. It was granted. In the meantime, we'd gotten out a broadcast and an APB. Missing persons detail helped out in the search. Still no sign. Tuesday, November 12th, 11 a.m. Deputy D.A. Henderson phoned us from the Hall of Justice.
When was that, Fred? Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, thanks a lot.
What do you have to say?
The attorney for Carter and Quincy asked the court for dismissal, no complaining witness.
Well, the judge ruled on it yet?
Yeah, case dismissed.
No matter how guilty the two men might have seemed, there was nothing further anyone could do. Without a complaining witness, our case was finished. The two suspects, Carter and Quincy, were released from custody. In a few days, Quincy left town for the east. Carter remained in the city. The search for Mr. and Mrs. Butler went on. No sign of either one of them. December came, and then the Christmas holidays, New Year's. On January 16th, Louis Butler suddenly reappeared back in town and surrendered on the bench warrant. They explained to the judge that because of the numerous threats on their lives just before the trial, they were afraid to appear and that they left the state without telling anyone. The judge gave them a lecture and a warning and dismissed charges. Another month passed, February and then March. On April 2nd, we got word from Denver, Colorado that one of our former robbery suspects, Ralph Quincy, had shot and killed a 24-year-old policeman while attempting a robbery in that city. Quincy was tried and convicted of murder and received a life term. In the meantime, we'd heard little or nothing about the other former robbery suspect, Marvin Carter. Another 2 months passed. Spring months wore on into summer. Monday, July 8th, 8 a.m.
Friday, Romero, see you a minute.
Yes, Skipper?
You want to sit down? I got something for you. A hold-up victim, man by the name of Sheridan, came in late last night, filed this crime report here. Have a look.
Let's see, Joe.
You can notice there it happened in the same area where we had that rash of hold-ups last fall.
Yeah, I see. Victim robbed and beaten.
Suspects used the same approach, same M.O. Followed it right down the line.
Yeah. Victim warned not to contact police. Bodily harm threatened if victim did so.
How about the descriptions of the hold-up men here? The victim pretty sure about them?
Gaffney handled the report. The victim said he got a good look at one of the thieves. Gaffney gave him a bunch of mug shots to look at.
Yeah.
Here's the one he picked out of the lot.
Thanks. Have a look, Joe. Marvin Carter.
As soon as the robbery report had come in, an immediate check had been made of Marvin Carter's last known address, an apartment in the West Pico district. The landlord revealed that the suspect had moved at least 2 months before. We got out a broadcast and an APB on him. Together with Sergeants Gonzalez and Henry, Ben and I started on a systematic check of all of Carter's known friends, relatives, and associates. After that, we started on the places he was known to frequent: hotels, bars, restaurants. No luck. 2 weeks went by. There were no further reports of robberies where the M.O. of the criminal matched that of Carter's. Tuesday, July 26, 2 p.m. We got a call from one of our informants, Bertie Simmons, who told us that he might have some information for us. He said it concerned Marvin Carter. He told us he'd meet us at MacArthur Park on the 6th Street side at 2:30 p.m. 2:50 p.m.
You'll have to excuse me, Sergeant. Sorry I'm late. I had to move from that other place. Things haven't been going too good for me.
That's all right, Bertie. What's the matter? No luck with the horses?
Yeah, a lot of luck. It's all bad. If there's a pig in the race, I have to bet on him every time. Getting so I can't even pick him to show anymore. I don't know.
What else is new with you, Bertie? No job yet?
No, I'm still looking. Been down around some of the joints, South Main, Alameda, keeping it near to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Want a smoke?
Yeah, thanks. Don't mind if I do.
There you go. Light for you.
What have you heard, Bertie? Anything that'll help?
That Marvin Carter, you're still looking for him, aren't you?
That's right. Any rumble?
I heard it last night having a beer downtown. I knew you fellows were in a little bind on the thing. I always like to help you when you're in a bind.
Well, what'd you hear, Bert?
Carter's still in town, hiding out. Like I say, I always like to help you out when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it is to be in a bind. That's when you appreciate help most. I'm kind of in a bind right now. A little short, you know.
A couple of dollars, Bert. That's all I have on me. Will that help you out any?
Saved my life, Sergeant. Tell you the truth, I didn't know where dinner was coming from tonight. No need telling you. I appreciate it.
What was this you heard about Carter?
Still in town. There's a place down by Venice, near the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Carter's been seen there once, twice lately. It's a little seafood joint, beer and clams, down by the beach.
Well, now, is that somebody's story, or is it the real thing, Bert?
The real thing, Sergeant. You know me better than that. No phony leads from me.
Where's Carter supposed to be staying down there, do you know?
Well, I do and I don't, I guess.
What do you mean?
This mooch who told me about Carter last night, he didn't know the address, but he described the place Carter's supposed to be hiding out in. I know the joint he means.
But you don't know the address.
No, but I can point out the place he means. It's a shack right along the speedway down there, down by the beach.
Mm-hmm.
You want to run down there with us now?
Sure, I'll point it out for you. I'm not going near it, though.
Why do you say that?
Don't want to mix with it, that's all. I got the word.
What do you mean?
Carter. Won't be an easy one to take.
How do you know?
He's got a gun.
2:55 p.m. Along with our informant, Bertie Simmons, Ben and I drove down to the beach town of Venice. Bertie pointed out a brown wooden frame cottage where Carter was supposed to be hiding out. While Bertie waited in the car, Ben and I checked it out. There was nobody at home, but there was plenty of evidence inside the cottage that Carter was living there. I went back down the street to where we'd parked our car. I kept an eye on the cottage while Ben got to a phone to call the office.
Pretty down here, huh, Sergeant?
Yeah, it's a nice day.
I don't get out in the air enough. I think that's my trouble. Some of this good ocean air makes you feel like a million.
Yeah.
Did you notice the place where your partner went to phone down the street there?
Yeah, what about it?
You see the sign, beer and clams? Right over the door. Beer and clams?
Yeah,
Best in the city, I know. I've been there. Only great. Good beer for a dime, fresh clams. Nothing better. You like clams?
Yeah, they're all right once in a while.
What am I going to do if you two have to wait here all night?
Well, we'll get you back to town, Bert. We'll figure out something for you. Hi, Ben. Did you get a hold of Captain?
Yeah. Marvin Carter was picked up downtown 20 minutes ago.
What?
Yeah, he's driving a rented car. Traffic unit picked him up.
Will they tab him on his description?
Not at first. The reason they noticed him was because he was double parked on a busy street, and they pulled him over and got a better look at him. I did.
Any trouble with him?
None at all. Got him booked at the main jail.
Say, that's sure too bad, and...
What do you mean, Bert?
It's your case, isn't it? How long you fellas been working on it?
Just about a year, huh, Joe?
Yeah, just about.
Coming all this way for nothing. You're ready to make the pinch and somebody else does it for you. Must be kind of disappointing, huh? All that time, all that work?
Well, Carter's in jail. That's the main thing. Well, I guess we better drive back in, huh, Ben?
Yeah.
Say, just a minute, Sergeant. No use coming all this way for nothing. Wonder if you'd do me a favor.
What's that, Bert?
That sign down the street.
What?
The blue and white sign, beer and clam. Wonder if you could drop me off right in front. Beer and clam?
Oh, yeah, Bert, all right.
Sure nice of you. Just like I was saying.
What's that?
No use coming all this way for nothing.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 29th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, let me tell you how to size up king-size cigarettes. First, take a Fatima, and then any other king size. Now, side by side, the two look alike, but they're not, because no other king-size cigarette has Fatima quality. That's right. In Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that results from a blend of the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos. Quality that gives you extra mildness, a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, if you haven't tried Fatima yet, take my advice. Buy a pack. Smoke Fatimas and you'll discover what I know. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Marvin Lawrence Carter was tried and convicted on several counts of first-degree robbery and was sentenced to the state penitentiary where he is now serving his term. First-degree robbery is punishable by imprisonment from 5 years to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lyle Rooks, editor of Radio Television Mirror.
The readers of Radio Television Mirror have chosen Dragnet, the favorite program of its type, for 1950. I am privileged to present the citation to you on behalf of the editors and readers of Radio Television Mirror throughout the nation.
Thank you, Miss Rooks.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy next over many NBC stations.
This one's about Pete Kelly. ask you. Tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's blues. Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Kepner.
Cherry Street, Kansas City. It's a standard speakeasy. The ceiling is low, the prices are high, and the whiskey is cut more times than a chin at a barber college. The entrance is just wide enough to handle one at a time, vertical or horizontal. My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. We start every night about 10, and we play till the last buck is home safe in Lupo's cash register. George Lupo owns the lease. He's a fat, friendly little guy you can always count on for a 20 in exchange for 2 10s. But that's all right. He lets us play the kind of music we like, and every once in a while he'll let us duck out to make a couple of phonograph records. All he asks is that we're back in an hour and 15% of the take. Well, last night, Matty Wynn had been after us for 2 weeks to make another record for him, to fill out one side. Matty ran a 2-turntable recording joint in a loft over on Baltimore. During the day, he'd keep busy making $2 personal records for the folks to send back home to the farm. At night, he'd rope a combo like ours to put out with some Dixie for the local market. We'd already pressed a few for his label under different names. The Spickardsville Sparks, the Grundy Growlers, the KC Cats. Maybe you got 1 or 2 in your collection. Hold on to them. They're pure. Well, it was getting on to 11 when I pushed the tempo on the last number in the second set. Lupo glared at us as we hustled out. Packed up our instruments, we piled into a taxi in Red's Erskine coupe and slammed out for Baltimore Street and Matty's loft.
Come on, I'll help you with the take.
All right. Let's keep it light, huh? This is a residential district now. Hold it down, boys, huh? Hold it down.
Hey, fellas, quiet down now. Quiet.
Pete?
Who's that, Red?
Looks like Zelda.
Oh, Pete, I'm so glad I didn't miss you.
Yeah, Zelda.
I have to... Could I talk to you for a minute, Pete?
All right, what's on your mind?
Alone?
I got a recording date, Zelda.
I know, Pete. That's why I came here.
We have to get back to 417.
A minute, Pete? A half a minute.
All right.
Okay, Petey, we'll wait upstairs. All right, you guys, let's move. And Pete.
Yeah, Red.
We don't sound like much out of cornet. Make it snappy, huh?
All right.
All right, inside, Mo. Okay.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, come on, Zelda.
Don't be mean, Pete. I've had my share of meanness. The way the newspapers...
What did you expect? Rave notices for the way you divorced Matty to marry a hood like Johnny April?
I have a right to live my own life.
Sure, no matter whose life you kick to shreds doing it.
I love Johnny. He loves me. Oh, Pete, of all people, I thought you would understand, that you would...
Now, look, Zelda. I like a guy named Matty Wynn. In my book, he didn't rate the kind of treatment you dealt him.
You like a guy named Matty Wynn. How much do you really know?
All right, Zelda, just funnel this down. Now, what do you want?
Matty refuses to see me, Pete.
That figures.
I want you to talk to him for me.
Saying what?
You and Matty, you always got on well together. He may listen to you.
Now, look, Zelda, I got a job to do. Get to it.
Matty's got a record that belongs to me. I want it.
What kind of a record?
It's a record you and the boys made once, June 9th.
Well, you're beginning to make a lot of sense, Zelda.
You'll understand, Pete. Just tell him I'll give him anything he wants for the record. You just tell him that, Pete. If you talk to him, maybe he'll...
Now, look, Zelda, just for the book here. I never liked you much.
I know, Pete.
I think you were grief for Matty from the first day he met you until the day you dealt him the final foul. All right, now, why don't you just leave him alone?
For Matty's sake, believe me, Pete. For his sake, I must have that record, and if you're a friend of his, Pete, you'll advise him to give it to me.
All right. I don't know what you want with an old disc of mine, but if it's something you need, it's something Matty's better off without. Matty?
Well, Pete, I've begun to think you deserted us for the Mound City Blue Blowers.
I just left Zelda.
Of course, the wisest thing any man could do.
She's waiting for me downstairs.
Why is it, Pete, that we always assume the vulture to be male?
She seemed more like a frightened rabbit.
Zelda, rabbit? Mink, yes, but never rabbit.
All right, Matty, I'll tell you about it after the session, huh? All right, let's get it on the road, huh? Matty, What do you want us to do?
Well, you just got one side to fill. Last time you did me singing the blues, we never did get a good take on Dixieland One Step.
Okay, all right. Come on, guys. Let's like each other, huh?
Quiet down.
All right, let's do Dixieland One Step.
How you want a routine, Petey?
Well, let's see. Like this. Everybody going in. Nick, plug those brakes solid. Matlock, you take the first little break on clarinet.
Yeah.
Now, Mo, you take the second and really blow it out, huh? Give me a
And
good...
everybody in on the first chorus, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Now, I'll take it for 16. Matlock, you take 16, everybody out. Good and bright, huh?
Yeah, okay.
All right. Ready, Matty?
Just a second. Okay, take it on the count, huh?
All right, now, here we go.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, felt good, huh?
Yeah, it was good for me. Fine, Matlock.
Matty?
That does it, Pete.
All right, you can pack up. I'll see you back at 417, huh?
Come on, boys. You stand behind, Pete?
Yeah, 10 minutes. Leave the Erskine for me, will you, Red?
Sure. Look, Pete, you come here to take care of your business. Leave it that way, huh?
Don't worry, Red. I aim to. Will you take my horn?
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
All right. Come on.
Nice, Pete. One solo seemed a little long for time, but I think we can get it all on.
Look, Matty, I know this is probably none of my business.
The papers and her marriage to Johnny April has made Zelda everybody's business.
Well, she asked me to talk to you about a record.
Indeed.
An old one of ours, June Night?
Yeah, June Night. I remember it well, Pete. I always considered it a splendid achievement in jazz that should one day become a collector's item.
Zelda doesn't know jazz from German needles and cares less, but she said she'd give you anything you want for that record.
You can tell Zelda that she can purchase a copy of June Night at Lambert's for 35 cents.
Yeah, that's why I don't get it.
And if you're fortunate, Pete, you never will. Forgive me, Pete. I don't mean to be sharp with you, but you're young and carefree. Stay that way. And if Zelda should again approach you, take a trip around the world or someplace else, but go.
All right, Matty. She asked me to ask you, and I asked. Good night.
Good night, Pete.
Hey, you Pete Kelly?
Who wants to know?
Hear that, Perry? He wants to know who wants to know. All right, I'll tell you. I want to know. Feel better?
Sure, I'm Pete Kelly, but I got a right...
And I got a left. Let's ride.
Thanks, but I got my own car here.
Right now, ours is safer for you. It's bulletproof.
Well, I was going to tell him I didn't need a bulletproof car. He showed me the gun. It was a .45. I know how to admit it when I'm wrong. So we got into the bulletproof car. During the ride, I cased the two artillerymen. Except for their faces, I'd seen them a couple of times before. At 417, over at Sour Sammy's, at Fat Annie's. The same tightly tailored blue suits, the same long, itchy fingers, and the same razor-edged lips and eyes. Oh, there's hundreds of them around. But they're pretty right guys. You gotta know how to handle them. Just do as they tell you, and the chances are you won't lose more than one eye. Well, the car glided to a smooth stop in front of the Roxbury Apartments. The private elevator shot us up to the penthouse. My stomach caught up with me as the Gunsels pushed me into a living room that was slightly smaller than Swope Park, but less crowded. One man, all shoulders, no hips, and rich black hair, a face that'd make Wally Reed cut his throat. He was sitting at a table with earphones on. He was tuning a radio. He glanced once over his shoulder at me. I didn't jump more than 20 yards. It was Johnny April.
Just a minute. I've been listening to something good on the earphones. Here, I'll plug in the speaker for you. You hear that music?
Yeah.
Nice reception, huh?
Yeah.
Just got it. 12-tube super heterodyne, Magnavox horn. Pulls in Frisco without static. The best. Drink?
No, thanks.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Canadian import, the best. Sure you want number one?
Yeah, sure.
Well, luck.
Luck?
Yeah, it's good stuff. Got a jolt, the best. You know who I am?
Yeah.
You sure?
Sure.
What's my name?
April. Johnny April.
That's right. You know my wife?
Your wife?
My wife.
Yeah?
You sure?
Yeah, Mrs. April.
Don't you know her better than that?
Than what?
Than Mrs. April?
Well?
Huh?
Well, sure. I know her. I knew her when she... Well, before she...
When she was married to Matty Wynn?
Yeah.
But you didn't call her Mrs. Wynn, did you?
Well,
What did you call her?
By her name?
Which is?
Zelda.
Zelda, that's right. That's all I wanted to fix. Now we both know what we're talking about, Zelda. You understand now?
Yeah.
That's why I invited you here, to talk about Zelda. And why you're bothering her.
Oh, well, you lost me, Mr. April.
Not a bad suggestion, but first I want you to tell me what you and Wynn are clubbing Zelda with.
You're asking me to play without a cue sheet, Mr. April. I don't even know the tune.
Tonight you stopped Zelda on Baltimore Street. You talked to her on a corner. You were seen. She was pleading with you.
Now, look, Mr. April, you're spinning it backwards. She stopped me, asked me to speak to Wynn.
About what?
Well, about a record she said belongs to her.
What record?
Well, it's a record. One that I made for Wynn. It's called... The title... Yeah, I know. This sounds silly, but it's true.
That's right, Kelly. Sounds silly because it isn't true. What do you want with Zelda?
All right, April. You take it any way you like. All I want from Zelda is distance between us. Now, I got a date to play.
Jake, teach him. What are you and Wynn cooking?
Nothing.
What do you want from Zelda?
Nothing, I tell you.
Johnny, what are you doing?
This the crumb who stopped you tonight?
Yeah, he's the one.
How much did Wynn pay you, April, to take Angel off his hands?
What did he want?
Money. Yeah, he said he and Wynn would make trouble for me. For you.
What kind of trouble?
My divorce. About my divorce. Open it up again unless I paid them.
All right. Now listen to me, Tin Horn. You got luck. You got lots of luck. You should light a candle to your luck. Next time you fill a ditch. This time I only warn you. And these are the warnings on the way. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, you go to Union Station. You buy a ticket, east, west, north, or south. You go. You go till the train runs out of the rails. No more room for you in Kansas City. Only in that ditch. You hear me?
I hear you. Well, Jake and Perry drove me back to the Erskine. They dropped me on Baltimore. I sat on the curb, my head between my knees. After a while, I felt a little better. I could breathe again. The lights were still on up in Matty's loft. He was probably working on the master. While I navigated the long flight of stairs, trying hard to hold back the sudden anger kicking up in me. It wasn't Matty's fault. He'd warned me about Zelda. No use to take it out on him. Well, I went into the loft and made an effort to hold it down. But it was a wasted effort. Matty wouldn't have minded anything I said or did. Matty wasn't even there. Only his body, half covered with the burlap used on the walls to soundproof the joint. He'd been shot once through the head, clawed down enough burlap over himself to make a shroud. I picked up the phone in the office, gave Central the number of Sour Sammy's joint, and waited for Sammy to see if Bonnie Ricketts was under his favorite table. Bonnie Ricketts is the only ex-bootlegger I know who went broke in 1922. He set out to prove that a man could drink his gin without ill effects. But he never set a time limit on the experiment. No, Barney hadn't come in yet to Sour Sammy's. Well, I left word for him, meet me at Fat Annie's place. I started to leave. I hesitated and went back to Matty Wynn, spread a clean handkerchief over his face. I made the street 3 stairs at a time. I crossed the river, jolted the Erskine down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place. Seemed like a waste of good singing, but Maggie Jackson was getting ready to do her number. I eased a lone drunk out of a booth, draped him on the edge of the bar, and sat and listened to Maggie.
Across the river on the Kansas side, that's where Fat Annie and the blues abide. To get your music and your chicken fried, come to Fat Annie. Just pour a pocketful of rock and ride across the river to the Kansas side. And when you get across that great divide, come to Fat Annie.
I'm just beat, Pete, right down to my shoes.
Yeah, it's a noisy crowd, Maggie.
Out-of-town wine buyers with gin chasers. Murder.
Yeah, do you want a beer?
Thanks, Pete. I could use it.
All right.
Hey, draw 2, will you?
Barney ain't been in yet, has he?
No. You got trouble again, Pete?
Where can I buy a new birthday? The stars are ganging up on me.
Ain't nothing in that astrology, Pete.
Well, there must be some explanation. Yes or no, hot or cold, I catch it.
What's the misery this time, Petey?
Only that Matty Wynn caught a bullet in the head.
No.
And if I'm not out of KC by morning, he's going to have company. Look, Maggie, do you remember a disc I cut for Matty? June night?
Sure do. Good session.
You got a copy of that one?
Right on top of the pile.
Where?
In my room, just down the street a piece.
Well, I'd go with you, Maggie, but I don't want to miss Barney.
I'll get it for you, Petey.
Thanks a lot.
Ah, Pete Kelly, noted troubadour, bar of the barrel houses.
Hi, Barney.
And Maggie Jackson, canary of the cribs.
I'll be right back, Pete.
Thanks a lot.
Petey, I've just suffered a great hurt. No sooner did I set foot in Sour Sammy's joint than Sour Sammy himself came a grinning and a smirking to tell me with undisguised glee that you were waiting for me here. He was openly delighted to see me go.
Yeah, look, Barney.
I was sorely tempted to ignore the message, merely to aggravate Sour Sammy, you understand. But since it was you, Petey, and in distress, I'll warrant, I came on the wings of Mercury.
Thanks, Barney.
Mercury, that's a thought, Petey. We've tried ether in our beer, chloroform, and even the tincture of laudanum. Now, what would a soup spoon of mercury do? No, too risky, unless, of course, one...
Barney, listen to me, will you? I'm breathing against the clock.
Never will I forget Sour Sammy's attitude, and after all the credit he's given me, too. No, Petey, it proves only one thing. Man is essentially an asocial animal. We band together only because we find it impossible to survive alone.
Yeah, I know.
But there is no true affection anywhere. Like the wolf, yes, take the wolf, Petey. He too herds, but only in times of want and stress.
Yeah.
And as soon as he doesn't have to rely upon his fellow wolf for survival, off he goes to prey upon his own. Yes, Petey, like the wolf, man is a lone hunter, hating the herd because he is forced to depend upon it for survival.
You all through?
Very well, fellow wolf.
Johnny April, Barney, do you know him?
Oh, yes. A fine gentleman, Johnny April, never kills on the Sabbath.
Well, I can't wait that long. He gives me till morning to get out of town.
Foolish man. Right now, you should be navel-deep in timetable.
Look, I got sucked into this by his wife, Zelda. She asked me to get a record from Matty Wynn that belongs to her. She told April that I'm trying to shake her down. I got worked over, and Wynn got a bullet.
What's on this record?
I don't know. It's just a disc I once made for Matty. It's called June Night.
Why does Zelda want it?
I don't know.
Why did Zelda lie to April?
I don't know.
Here's the record, Pete.
Thanks, Maggie.
And who shot Matty?
I don't know.
Let's save time, Petey. Just tell me what you do know.
Well, all I know is that Zelda's after this record, and she doesn't want April to know it.
And that's the copy there?
Yeah, June Night. I thought maybe we could spin it once and Maybe it'll give us some kind of a message.
I'll put it on the phonograph, Pete.
Thanks, Maggie. I'll wind it up for you here. All right, listen to it, huh?
Good quality. Mean anything?
Nothing.
No hidden meanings or codes or ciphers?
Nothing there but the music.
Tell me, Petey, how are these things made?
What?
A recording.
Well, you record directly onto a round table of soapy wax, and then they dust this wax with graphite, and they dip it in a copper plating tank. From this, they make what they call the mother, or the stamper. And that's what turns out the records that you buy in the store.
I see. And the wax master, that's always kept in the recording studio?
Yeah?
When you've finished a job, Pete, can anything else be recorded on the master?
Well, I suppose you could dub from one master to another, yeah.
Petey, when I was a mere lad, my old father told me, when you seek an answer, child, always go to the master.
Well, I pointed Barney for the door. We got into the Erskine and jolted back over Boulder Road and across the river. Barney insisted on expanding his wolf-man-herd theory all the way back to Baltimore Street. By the time we reached Matty Wynn's loft, my fangs were on edge. Barney looked away from Wynn's body as we headed for the file room. I yanked open a metal container. It was empty. The master of June night was gone. Yeah, your old father was right, Barney.
He also told me the master will always be there for you. Notice the disarranged state of the files here, all the compartments.
Yeah.
Whoever came for the master of June night went directly to the right file as you did. Didn't find it there and ransacked the rest of the place.
Well, then Matty hid it figuring something like this, but where?
Let's look around the control room, Petey.
Oh, there's no place there to hide a flea.
Did you ever read a story called The Purloined Letter by Edgar Allan Poe?
Not now, Barney.
A wonderful little tale.
Now, look, Barney,
In this particular story, Petey, a number of detectives were taking a room apart by the seams, searching for a letter. They couldn't find it, and why? Because man is blind, Petey. He never recognizes the truth when his eyes fall on it, just as our eyes now fall on this peculiar-looking record on the turntable.
Yeah. Barney, you wouldn't leave it out just like this.
Prove me wrong. Play it.
All right. Let's listen to it and see.
You understand what's here to say, Zelda?
You wrote the script for me.
Not that I don't trust you, of course.
Let's get on with it.
this close enough, Pete?
Don't be foolish, Zelda. Put that gun away.
Give me the record, Pete.
Sure, in exchange for that gun.
You'll get what's in the gun.
What, you dealt it to Matty? The record here on the turntable all the time, and you broke 3 nails ripping those files apart?
Face the wall. Keep your hands up. Lean against it, both of you.
Excuse me, madam, but I just dropped in to make a record for the folks
Shut
back
up.
home. Surely.
One move, and I'll give it to you in the back.
That's my department, Zelda.
Johnny!
Give me the gun. All right, Zelda. I told you here. I only bought a small piece of your yarn. Now I want the rest of it.
I didn't want to involve you, Johnny. I came to pay them off. They killed Matty. See? See there? And I got the gun away from...
No good, Zelda. Can't you see his face? He's just run out of mileage and ideas. Listen to this, April.
No, darling. It's a frame. This...
Shut up. All right, Kelly, I'm listening, and it better be good. All right. Here it is. It's all on the record.
Just close enough, Matty? Perfect. Now, just in case anything goes wrong, this recording will be our protection from each other. To whom it may concern, my wife, Zelda, and I have entered into this agreement of our own free will.
All right, just get to it, Matty.
Go ahead.
I have told Johnny April that I want to divorce my husband and marry him. When this is accomplished, it is our intention that I be made a widow as soon as possible and then remarry Matty Wynn.
Just for the record, you agree to decoy said Mr. April to a predetermined spot where you'll be unarmed and without bodyguards. I agree to shoot Mr. April. The police will not question your story that he was ambushed by a rival mobster, identity unknown to you. You will then inherit the April money and return to me. You agree?
I agree. Crazy enough to do anything for you, even when you tell your own wife.
All right. That's enough.
It'll be legal.
Johnny.
April, don't shoot her.
Johnny, don't. Please, don't.
Get over, Zelda.
No.
Back off so I won't miss you. Zelda!
Johnny! Johnny!
He can't hear you.
I should have let him kill me.
You fell in love with him, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Only one thing I didn't count on.
Yeah. You can't dance at 2 weddings with one heart.
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisenberg and music by Dick Cathcart, scoring by Matty Matlock. The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven and Maggie Jackson is now available on phonograph records. Ladies and gentlemen, the Red Cross already has allocated more than $1 million for emergency relief work in the flood-stricken areas of Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and Oklahoma. The biggest Red Cross job, however, will be rebuilding and refurnishing homes in the flooded areas. Cost of this job will run into the millions, more than present Red Cross resources can provide. That is why President Truman has issued a special appeal to all Americans to contribute generously to a special Red Cross flood fund of at least $5 million. Send all contributions to your local Red Cross chapter.
The preceding was transcribed. It's the Silver Jubilee on NBC. Tonight, one of your old friends is returning to NBC. Yes, there's fun for everyone tonight with Uncle Gildy, that happy, bungling hero of the airwaves, the great Gildersleeve. And later tonight, there's the best in recorded music on Meredith Wilson's Music Room. Meredith's special guest this evening is Frank Lesser, the composer of Broadway's musical Guys and Dolls. And make a note to hear Dragnet tomorrow with another authentic story from the files of the Los Angeles Police Department. The great Gildersleeve tonight on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true.
names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A doctor is severely beaten, robbed, and left in critical condition. Suspicion points to a narcotics addict. Your job? Get him. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, August 7th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 1:15 p.m. when I got to 4656 Collis Avenue. The front door.
Is that you, Joseph?
Yeah, Ma, it's me.
I didn't expect you so soon.
Well, I'm off for lunch, and Ben and I were in the neighborhood, so...
Oh, well, I'll get the telegram.
Thank you.
I must say I'm glad you could get home. Telegrams always make me nervous. Nobody ever sends a telegram unless it's important here, so...
Thank you. Yes, they do, Ma. Some people send wires to invite you to lunch or to a reception or something like that.
Is that so?
Sure. You've just forgotten, haven't you? I've gotten them before like that.
Oh, it's no way to do, anyhow.
Why not?
People always associate frightening things with telegrams. Well, aren't you going to open it?
Oh, yeah, sure. No, if you were worried, you could open it, Ma. It'd been all right.
Well, you know I never open anything addressed to you, Joseph. Anything important?
It's from Belmont, my old high school.
Oh, yeah.
They want me to come up next week. They're having some sort of assembly up there. Want me to talk to the student body.
Well, that's nice. You going to go?
Yeah, I think I better, don't you? I'll have to clear it through Captain Sheldon, though.
No, I think it's awfully nice for them to remember you. What are you going to talk on, say?
Yeah, police work, it says here. I'll have to think of something to base it on, though, won't I?
Well, you'll have to memorize it, Joseph. Doesn't look well for a man to stand up on a platform and read a prepared talk.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that's Ben. I gotta go, Ma.
Would you and Ben like some lunch? I can fix you something in about a minute.
No, we haven't got time, dear. I'll see you later.
I don't know why they couldn't have written a letter instead.
What's that, Ma?
I said they could have written you a letter. Besides, it's much cheaper than a telegram.
Yeah, Ma. I'll see you later.
Bye, Joseph.
Bye. Just got a call, Joe. They want us to call the office. Oh, well, I might as well do it from the house, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
Right.
It's just me again, Ma. Came back to use the phone.
All right, Joseph.
Hello?
2511, please.
2511? Robert Chandler.
It's Friday, Glenn.
Got one for you, Joe.
What? I can't hear you, Glenn.
Got one for you.
Wait a minute, I can't hear you. Hey, Ma, would you hold that vacuum for a minute, please? I can't hear.
Oh, all right, Joseph.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Glenn. What'd you say again?
That's right. That young kid hit again, doctor's office.
Yeah?
It's that same kid, only this time he got a little rough. Victim's at Georgia Street. He's
still carrying that gun.
Did he use the gun?
To beat the man with. Victim's a 55-year-old doctor. No reason for it, Joe.
All right, we'll get right on it.
Right, bye.
Yeah, bye. Okay, Mom, all through.
All right, son.
Anything?
Yeah. That young hype hit again. Doctor's office beat him up pretty bad. He's down at Georgia.
Great combination, isn't it, Joe?
What's that?
Arm full of narcotics and a loaded gun.
Monday, August 7th. Since June 27th, Ben and I had been assigned to a case involving a young narcotics thief. For 7 weeks now, he'd been robbing every possible source available to him of narcotics. Since the inception of the investigation, we'd seen this young criminal develop from a small-time sneak thief to a full-fledged armed and vicious thug. The descriptions of the young thief taken from his various victims tallied almost to the letter. Blonde, light complexion, small stature, 5'7" to 5'10", nervous and unusually juvenile in appearance. Everything possible was being done for his quick apprehension. Hundreds of mug shots were screened and shown to victims. No identification. 3:30 p.m. We checked back in at the office. Went to see Sergeant Ed Hall, Narcotics Division.
Chandler said you went over to Georgia Street to see that doctor.
Yeah, that's right, Ed. Short visit. Poor guy.
Pretty bad, huh?
Well, the guy's really a mess. Kid must have worked overtime on him.
And what's his condition?
Still critical when we left. They wouldn't let us stay long. We got a description. It's the same kid.
The doctor's name was Gannon, huh? 55 years old.
Yeah. Pistol whipped him. Knocked out 7 of his teeth, fractured his jaw. Doctor was wearing glasses. They don't know if he'll see out of his right eye anymore.
Well, this puts Junior in the big leagues now.
Yeah, it sure does. We got out a supplementary all points on him. Here's a list of the junk that he got. It's quite a haul here.
Yeah. Morphine, quarter grain, 30 vials. 5 vials, half grain codeine. Dolphine, quarter grain, 6 vials. Yeah, you did all right. Long list here.
We got that from the nurse. She was out to lunch when it happened. It's a small office out there, and the doctor closes up at noon. Nurse goes out to lunch, and he eats in the office. That's when the kid got to him.
He knew when to hit, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, our boys haven't been able to turn up a thing for you. Nobody seems to know the kid.
Well, the amount of stuff he hauled out of that doctor's office, something ought to show, shouldn't it?
Should, yeah, with a haul like that. You got anything at all to work on?
Yeah, that car that was used on the job. Still got it staked out.
Well, we just picked this up from the report counting.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Car was reported stolen 2 hours after the robbery. It's a little bit of a break, huh?
The report was taken out at the Wilshire station. Mrs. Irving Adams states that her husband had notified her that the car was stolen from him while he was at work today. Said he always parks it out in front on the street.
We haven't checked it out yet. We figured it was a good place to start, maybe.
Wait a minute. What'd you say that name was?
Irving Adams.
Oh, let me see that report. Well, this Adams is a user. He's up in county now, waiting trial.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, Walker and I picked him up. I just talked to Adams up in the county jail this morning.
How long has he been in?
Let's see. It was last Tuesday, July 30th.
The car couldn't have been stolen from Adams today if he's been in jail for a week.
Well, there's one guy can figure it out for you. Adams.
4:05 p.m. We went up to the 10th floor of the county jail, the interview room. We talked to Irving Adams for an hour. He said he wanted to cooperate, but he couldn't explain his wife's action in reporting the car stolen from him. He kept repeating that he knew his wife was not involved in anything, that she was innocent of any complicity in the case of the youthful gunman. He could give us no information on anyone fitting the gunman's description. He insisted that the entire matter was a mistake and that his wife could clear everything up if we'd just talk to her. 5:20 p.m. Ben and I drove out to 239 West 92nd Street, the Adams residence. It was a small white bungalow trimmed in red. The front lawn needed cutting and care. There were 4 bottles of soured milk on the front porch, along with several old newspapers. The front blinds were down, and although it was still early, the front porch light was burning. The other homes in the neighborhood appeared to be neat and well kept. The screen door was ajar and supported by one rusty hinge. 5:21 p.m.
Looks like nobody's home.
Well, let's give it a try, huh?
Give me a minute, I'll cover the back.
Right.
Yes?
Police officer, my name's Friday. You're Mrs. Irving Adams?
Yes, that's right.
Well, I'd like to talk to you about your stolen car.
Have you found it?
Yes, we have. Can I come in?
The place is in such a mess. Can't we talk here?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd rather come inside.
All right. Don't look at the house. I've been kind of sick. Haven't felt much like cleaning up.
All right. You alone here, are you?
Right now, my husband's at work.
Mm-hmm. Mind if I go through the house?
You mean search it? You got a warrant?
Well, I just want to go to the back door.
What for?
Well, my partner's around back there. This the way to the back door here?
That's right.
This it?
It's locked. Keys in the door.
All right. Hey, Ben?
Yeah, everything all right?
Yeah, fine.
Is he a police officer, too?
Yeah, that's right. Is this all there is to the house here?
What do you mean?
Well, just these 3 rooms here.
Yes, that's all.
And I thought you said you were alone here.
I am.
Well, who's that woman lying down in the other room?
That's Catherine. I didn't want you bothering her. She's been sick, too. She sleeps most of the time. I just forgot about her.
Anybody else around?
No, nobody.
No, I mean anybody sick or otherwise. Anyone besides you and this girl in there?
Well, you've been in every room in the house except the bathroom.
This it here?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't understand all this. I reported my car stolen, and you come out here and search my house. If I did steal my car, I wouldn't hide it in here.
Yeah. Ben, want to come in?
Yeah.
Could you tell me something?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Well, I told you we found your car. This is Sergeant Romero.
How do you do?
What's the trouble? Anything wrong?
Who'd you say your car was stolen from?
From me. It was my car.
Is that the way you made the report, Mrs. Adams? It was stolen from you?
I think so, yes.
Ms. Adams, according to the report that you made out this morning, you stated that the car was stolen from your husband, isn't that right?
Is that what I said?
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
I don't remember. We both used the car so much. I forgot.
Well, now, which is it, you or your husband?
I'm not sure.
You been drinking, have you?
A little bit, just to ease my nerves. I haven't been feeling well.
Well, it's obvious you're not drunk, Mrs. Adams. Why don't you keep your story straight?
Well, officers, I am telling the truth.
Well, your husband's in the county jail. He's been there for a week. The car couldn't have been stolen from him. Now, could it?
I didn't say it was stolen from him.
Is this your signature, Mrs. Adams?
Yes, sir.
This is a copy of the auto theft report that you made at the Wilshire Division.
Yes.
Well, now, is this report a true one or a false one? There's a penalty for making a false report, Ms. Adams. I'm sure you're aware of that.
I only want my car back.
Who was it stolen from?
Well, whatever it says there, my husband.
Now, we just told you that he's in jail. He's still in there. We just talked to him. The car couldn't have been stolen from him. Have you got anything to say to that?
No.
Well, I think we better go downtown where you can sit and straighten yourself out and give us some right answers.
I don't want to go to jail.
Well, that's just where you're going if you don't snap out of it and come up with the truth.
I know who you want. It's Rex Burley, isn't it?
Who's Rex Burley?
A young kid, blonde, small. He told me he was in some kind of trouble with the car. Said if I told the police it was stolen, it'd be all right that way.
Do you know where he is now?
No, I don't.
You sure about that?
That's the truth.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Catherine's awful sick.
She always sleep this heavy?
Only when she's sick.
She's really out, isn't she?
Yeah.
Look at her leg.
Yeah. She's a user.
Say, this girl's on narcotics, Ms. Adams. Are you a user?
No, I'm not. I don't know where Catherine gets it.
How about Rex Burley?
He's on it, too. Maybe she gets it from him.
Is there any stuff in the house now?
Not that I know of.
You want to tell us where Rex Burley is?
I don't know. He called here about an hour ago. Catherine talked to him.
Did he tell her where he was?
Yes, he did. She wrote it down on a piece of paper.
Where's that paper?
Under her pillow.
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, from beginning to end, the Fatima story. Actual convincing proof that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more long cigarette smokers are now insisting on Fatima than ever before.
So if you smoke a long cigarette, compare Fatima. You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you,
ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, August 7th, 6:30 p.m. The young girl who was identified as Catherine Dorrance was awakened, and she produced Rex Burley's address. She stated that she'd known him for the past year. She had just graduated from high school and gave her age as 18. In talking further with both Iris Adams and Catherine Dorrance, we found that the description of Rex Burley checked out with that given us from the suspect's victims. They both stated that, as far as they knew, it was his true name, that he had no friends or associates known to them. A check with R&I showed no record on the name Rex Burley. At 6:37 p.m., Sergeants Hall and Walker from Narcotics Division arrived and continued the investigation of the two female suspects. A stakeout was placed on the house at 239 West 92nd Street. The address we got from Catherine Dorrance was a hotel on Washington Boulevard. We drove out and checked with the clerk. We asked if he had anyone registered under the name of Rex Burley, and he told us no. We gave him Burley's description, and he said that a young man similar to that had registered and was in room 210. We got a pass key from the clerk. We walked up to the second floor.
This is it.
Lights on under the door.
Yeah. Careful, huh?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Open up. We want to talk to you.
What about?
Is the key in the door?
Yeah, pass key's no good.
All right, come on. Open up. Police officers.
Isn't gonna open.
All right. Let's hit it. Right again. Once more. Yep.
Windows open. Up the fire escape, Joe. Police officers, hold it up.
Watch it. You all right? Yeah. All right, come on. Let's go. All right, hold it up there. He doesn't want to stop.
He's over the side, under the roof.
All right, come on. All right, easy.
See him?
No, it's pretty dark. All right, come on. Easy now. All right, easy.
Over there on that side. Can you see him?
No, it's too dark.
Watch that skyline. He's over there in that corner. See him?
Yeah, now he's gone.
Must have ducked back down. Well, he's in that corner.
All right, let's take him. Now keep down. You circle around from that side. I'll go around this way.
Right.
Be careful. Keep down.
Don't you! I quit. Please don't shoot.
All right, throw that gun out and get your hands in the air. Walk toward the middle of the roof.
All right. Here's the gun. I see him, Joe. I got him covered. You all right?
Yeah.
All right, keep those hands up.
All right, stand still.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right, get your hands behind you. Ben?
Let's go, Burley.
I didn't mean to do it. I was wrong. I know I was wrong.
Should have thought about that a long time ago.
How old are you, Burley?
20.
You're living pretty high, aren't you?
I had to have this stuff. I needed it. How else could I get it? I didn't have the money to buy it.
You didn't have to get started on it. Come on, let's go.
I didn't want to get started. All of a sudden, I was just on it. I couldn't do anything about it. You don't understand. There was just somebody else to explain it to.
There is, but they won't understand it either. Monday, August 7th, 8:40 p.m. Rex Burley was taken downtown to the robbery division for further interrogation. He told us that he was in his senior year in high school when he got started on narcotics. He kept repeating that he didn't mean to get started. He readily admitted his participation in 6 narcotics robberies. He told us that he got Catherine Dorrance, his 18-year-old girlfriend, started on dope. Gene Bechtel took his statement and a complete report was made. A partial recovery of the stolen narcotics was made from his hotel room. The remainder had been found at Irving Adams' residence on 92nd Street. Both female suspects, Iris Adams and Catherine Dorrance, were filed on for violation of the State Narcotics Act. A show-up was scheduled for August 8th to allow a positive identification from Rex Burley's victims. We received word from Georgia Street that Dr. Gannon's condition was improved. The suspect was transported to the main jail where he was booked. It was 10:38 p.m. when I got to 1456 Collis Avenue, the front door. Yeah, Ma.
Oh, have you had your dinner?
No, I'm not hungry.
We'll have to eat. I'll fix you something.
Oh, I'm kind of tired. I just like to sit down for a minute.
All right. Well, there's the evening paper.
Oh, thank you.
Well, what'd you do to the sleeve of your coat?
Oh, where? Oh, guess I must have ripped it, huh?
Uh-huh. You slip it off, I'll mend it after I fix you some dinner.
Well, why don't you sit down and work on it now if you want to? I've got something I'd kind of like to go over with you.
All right.
You remember that telegram from Belmont this morning?
Yeah, your old high school.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I got an idea for a speech, maybe. Just made a few notes here. Mm-hmm. Wrote down some of it. You think you feel like listening to it? See if it's okay?
All right. Did you write the speech today?
Well, just parts of it. I haven't written it clear out yet. I just got a few notes. I want to see what you thought of it.
All right. Well, let me have your coat, son.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
Now, let's hear you talk.
Well, remember, it's not written down yet. It's just kind of hit and miss as I go along. But I think I can get the thought across, and then I'll put it all down on paper.
All right.
Mr. Fisher, that's the principal up there. You know.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher, members of the faculty and students. I'd like to tell you about a young boy who started out in high school and ended up on the roof of a downtown hotel dodging police bullets. I'd like to tell you about his girlfriend, 18 years old and a dope addict. This young fella started out on narcotics in search of a new thrill, something new that he hadn't experienced in his young life. He was still in high school when a group of the more high-living youngsters used to congregate at the local malt shop. Well, that's not so good, is it?
No.
Well, maybe it sounds better this way. There was a malt shop on the corner where some of the youngsters used to get together after school. Kind of a place where, if you had the right connections, and our young boy and girl did, you could get a drink of liquor in the back room. Well, the high school faculty knows all about this local malt shop, and they inform the authorities, and pressure is brought to bear. But the man who operates the place is clever, if you can call the operations of a man like this clever. He knows how to cover up, how to keep the front room legitimate and the back room a spawning place for juvenile delinquency. And the students don't help much. There seems to be something during the formation of a juvenile mind that when his teachers or his parents catch him doing wrong or they try to tell him it's bad, he prides himself in seeing how long he can get away with it undercover. Seems to be the stylish thing to do, to outwit your parents and teachers. As the youngsters grow older, they invariably find out how infantile and stupid this is, but sometimes it's too late. Does that sound kind of stuffy, Ma? What do you think?
Sounds like the truth. Let me hear the rest of it.
Well, you know how kids are. Sometimes they resent it if they think you're lecturing them. Maybe
No.
if they could have been with Ben tonight, it might make a difference. Well, I don't want to make this too long, Ma. I think maybe I ought to finish up something like this. From this malt shop on the corner and that back room, our young boy gets a good shove down the road of self-degradation. He has the right connections, and it isn't too long before he graduates the liquor in the back room for something he thinks it's far better, narcotics. He's heard that, unlike liquor, you can't smell it on his breath, and he's a real veteran now. He has hangovers. He's heard that narcotics doesn't leave you with a hangover. So it doesn't take too long before, in police parlance, he's hooked. Living in this day and age, he thought that they taught him well in his economics and civics classes. He thought he knew what post-war inflation was all about. He didn't have the vaguest notion of the cost of his daily supply of narcotics once he was hooked on it. He found that before long he had to have his daily dosage. In no time at all, he found that it was all he could do to get by on $30 a day. That's what it cost, Ma. $30 each and every day, or he became violently ill, so sick that he couldn't seem to function properly. Well, in order to maintain his daily needs, he got a gun, and he robbed, and he beat people, and he stole. He shared with his girlfriend, and he dragged her down with him. He ended up on the roof of a hotel trying to shoot his way out. Well, the boy was 20 years old. His girlfriend was 18. 2 years ago, they both sat out there in a high school auditorium during an assembly. He went a long way, didn't he, in his 2 years out of high school? He was taken into custody on the night of August 7th. He was crying when we put the handcuffs on him. He was crying when we left him in his cell at the county jail. I guess he's still crying. What do you think, Ma? That's just rough. I haven't...
Oh, will they believe it? You think it'll do any good?
Well, I don't know, Ma. It's up to them.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 9th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 83, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, there are many cases on record of two people, not related, looking so much alike it's hard to tell them apart. A quick check of fingerprints, however, easily proves who's who. Now, at first sight, you could just as easily be fooled by king-size cigarettes. If you were to place a Fatima and any other king-size cigarette side by side, you'd find they look identical. But believe me, there's a real difference. In Fatima, that difference is quality. Quality that gives you extra mildness, a much better flavor and aroma. Compare Fatima with any king-size cigarette. The size is the same, now the price is the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality. Buy a pack tomorrow.
Rex Martin Burley was found guilty of 3 counts of robbery in the first degree and was sentenced to the state penitentiary where he is now serving his term. First-degree robbery is punishable by imprisonment from 5 years to life.
The Federal Civil Defense Administration will send you an air raid instruction sheet. If you will write the Superintendent of Documents, Washington, D.C., enclosing 5 cents in coin or stamps.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over many NBC stations.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes,
Best of all long cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to auto theft detail. A well-organized ring of car thieves begins operations in your city. It's one of the most puzzling cases you've ever encountered. Your job? Break it. You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest domestic and Turkish tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, May 11th. It was fair in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of auto theft detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Stilson. My name's Friday. It was 8:35 a.m. when I got to room 40, Auto Theft Division. Captain's office.
Morning, Friday.
Morning.
Hi, Joe.
Ben?
Want to sit down?
Thank you.
I was just telling Romero here, I'm briefing all the men in the bureau on this thing. That's the reason I called you two in.
Yeah?
I got some figures here I want to go over with you.
All right.
As you know, the percentage of all auto theft recoveries is 96 to 98% on the average. That's normally.
Yeah?
In checking the monthly averages the past 4 months, that percentage has dropped to the low 80s.
Quite a drop.
Corner Pocket thinks so, too. They want some action on it.
Well, we've been working on it.
Absolutely no pattern to the thefts. Time, location, the method. Makes it impossible to stake out on it.
Yeah, those are some of the reasons our percentage is taking such a dive. I know the problems. We all do, but we got to break this thing soon.
Well, it figures we're dealing with a well-organized bunch. They know what they're doing.
And cross-checking all the reports, it seems to boil down to this in general. It appears that all the outstanding thefts are GM cars. Cads, Pontiacs, Chevys, Oldsmobiles. All late models, all seem to be in good condition, low-mileage cars.
Well, in addition to the regular broadcast and teletypes, we got out a special bulletin on this, didn't we?
That's right. All the thefts were listed, license, make, model, and color. Been sent to all major cities and border patrol stations. Nothing so far.
I was checking through the salvage reports, salvage buys. Do you have the last 2 months' escape for March and April?
Yeah, right here. I noticed the same thing. That outfit down on San Pedro Street.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, yeah. This is a composite on the reports for the past 2 months?
That's right.
This one here. Herman Salvage, 2716 West San Pedro. They seem to deal a little heavy on General Motors cars, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I've been watching the buys on this place for the past few weeks now. I wanted to make sure it wasn't coincidence.
Well, looks like a good place to run down anyway.
You two want to check it out?
All right, fine. 2716 West San Pedro.
That's it. Outfit appears to be okay. Never been out of line.
Seems funny they should deal with the top heavy in GM cars, doesn't it?
Right when our recovery percentage takes a dive, yeah.
Do you have the last salvage report there, Captain?
Yeah.
The last one?
Here you are.
Thank you. Yeah. Here's one for Herman's, 1949 Cadillac. A little further down, Herman's again, 47 Olds. Yeah. There's 5 GM buys on the list. Herman got 4 out of 5 of them.
Let's find out why.
From the time an automobile is first manufactured and sold, a constant and complete record is maintained on that automobile. His certificate of ownership, the pink slip in the state of California. His certificate of registration, the white slip. These 2 slips of paper contain the information necessary for the positive identification of your car. A fact that every motorist knows, Now, there are many agencies that work for the protection and security of your automobile. One of these is the National Auto Theft Bureau, a kind of nationwide clearinghouse. Acting upon information supplied by the various insurance companies and other allied agencies, this bureau forwards all facts and figures concerning the disposition of motor vehicles on a nationwide basis. Reports are made available to all law enforcement agencies. One of the pieces of information put out by the National Auto Theft Bureau is the salvage report, listing all sales and purchases of automobiles that, for one reason or another, may have been relegated to the junkyard or to the salvage company, a fact that many motorists may not know. 9:14 a.m., Ben and I checked through the police commission and found that the owner of Herman Salvage was a Herman Lester. He had been in business at the same location for 6 years and appeared to be a reputable businessman. We drove down to 2716 West San Pedro to check it out. It was an average-looking garage with a connecting salvage yard filled with several hundred smashed-up cars of all makes and models. It was 9:32 a.m. when we walked into the garage.
There's a fellow there in a white shirt.
Yeah, I see him.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Yes, sir. Police officers. Auto theft detail?
Oh, yes. Don't believe I know you fellas. My name's Lester.
This is Sergeant Friday. My name's Romero.
How you do?
How are you? Are you the owner here?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, whatever happened to Mac and Donovan? Used to drop in once, twice a month. I haven't seen them for 2-3 weeks now.
Well, they're a little busy on a special assignment.
Oh, I see.
All right, if we look around here?
Oh, you bet. Make yourselves right at home. Anything special?
No, just looking.
Okay.
Notice you've been pretty busy, huh?
Yeah, had a pretty good month. Salvage racket's going to get sour again, looks like, with the Korean War and all the cutbacks.
Doesn't seem to have hit you so far.
Well, no, not so far. Looks like it may tighten up any time.
I noticed from our salvage report you've been doing a big business in GM merchandise.
Yeah, we have. You know, they're starting to build tanks back there now. We wanted to make sure we wouldn't run short on parts.
You get a lot of call for GM parts, do you?
Oh, yeah, we sure do. Everybody in town knows if they need something for a Caddy or a Buick or any of those cars, this is the place to come. We kind of built up a reputation specializing in GM used parts.
I see.
Mind if we check your last few by?
Fine.
You have 49 Cadillac, 47 Olds, Pontiac 48, 1949 Chevrolet. Wonder if we might see those.
Yes, sir. Right out in the yard. Back this way. All 4 of them are really bent up. Bad shape. Just breaks your heart to see beautiful merchandise like that all smashed up. I don't know what people are thinking of the way they drive.
Yeah.
And you take a new Caddy, one of those new convertibles, really beautiful merchandise. Somebody takes one out, rolls it, we pick it up and tow it down here. Beautiful car like that all rolled up in a ball.
Georgia Street Receiving Hospital probably picked up the rear.
Yeah, it was really a shame. Well, here we go. There's a Caddy.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. The Olds and the Pontiac are in that row there. You see them?
Yeah.
And that Chevrolet, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. 1949.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There she is over there. Third car down. Maroon. See it?
Maroon one, yeah. Down there.
Yeah. Looks like a graveyard, doesn't it?
Sure does. What do you do with all these cars? Strip them down for parts?
Well, at least the 4 you're checking now, yeah. They're all total wrecks. Nothing much can be done with them except for parts.
How about that Cadillac down there, the sedan?
Huh?
That one over there. Can't you fix that one up? That doesn't look beyond repair from here.
Oh, step around the other side here. You can't see from where you're standing. Here. Yeah, the right side's all stove in. By the time you figure replacing those side panels and fenders, trim, we couldn't come out on it.
Yeah, I see now. Well, I don't know too much about it, but it looked good from over there.
Yeah, that's what we get all the time. People want us to pay top prices for stuff we can't get our money out of. If we could repair them, fix them up, and resell them as a complete automobile, there'd be a lot of money in this business.
You do that with some of them, don't you?
Oh, very few of them, I'll tell you. That's what we look for, but we don't always get lucky.
I see.
Say, how'd you boys like to see some really beautiful merchandise?
What's that?
Well, come on back in the shop.
All right.
Kind of a hobby of mine. Here's what keeps us busy. Plates and pink slips on their way up to Sacramento for cancellation. Yeah, over this way. Here we are. Take a look at this baby.
Yeah. Hot rod, huh?
No, not exactly. We don't go in for that kid stuff racing around town.
Well, sure looks like one.
Yeah, but it's a little better than most of the kids can throw together.
What did it do?
We clocked her up at Muroc at 112 last weekend. You know, they've been coming in here from all over town to see this car?
That's so.
Yeah. You ever get up to Muroc Dry Lake?
No, I never do, but that's the place for it. Running around town on those things can cause a lot of accidents.
Those drag races the kids have? Yeah. We don't go in for that stuff. This is strictly scientific as far as I'm concerned. I like to build them up, see what we can make them do.
Cost a lot of money, don't they?
Got $5,400 in this one right now. I'm putting more into it. Mallory ignition, milled heads, twin Wakefields. Here, let me start it up for you.
Okay.
120 horses under there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Listen to that. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of power here. Go in. You ought to see it up at the lake. You really go.
Yeah, I'll bet. This all made up out of salvage cars?
Every bit of it. Buy a few things new, but most of it's right out of wrecks like those outside there.
Takes a lot of talent to build up something like this from scrap, doesn't it?
No, not really. After you've been at it as long as I have, it's not too tough. The trick is to get more speed out of them than anyone else can.
Yeah, you did a good job on this car, right?
Oh, if you put your mind to it, you can do a lot with a wrecked car.
Before we left Herman's Salvage, we checked all 4 of the GM cars that were listed on the salvage report. We made a careful check on all of the cars in the yard and in the garage, paying special attention to the few cars that were in the process of being rebuilt by Herman Lester's mechanics. We went over his records, carefully checking the disposition of all of his buys for the past several months. Everything was in perfect order. We found that in the past 3 weeks, Lester had taken in 10 cars. 8 of them had been stripped down for parts, and 2 of them had been rebuilt and resold. The investigation showed that 4 of those cars were GM cars, and the 2 that were resold were both General Motors. 11:28 a.m. Ben and I drove back to the office and asked Mac and Donovan if they'd check through the 2 resale cars to make sure everything was in order, as the reports indicated. We checked through on the remaining 8 cars that were listed by Herman Lester as broken down for parts. According to DMV, all plates and pink slips had been returned to them for cancellation. 11:50 a.m.
Well, that's it, Joe.
Yeah.
8 of the cars check out. 2 of those were GM.
Yeah, well, that leaves just the 2 that Mac and Donovan are checking, huh?
I don't know. Everything down there looked all right. It's a cinch Lester wasn't holding back anything, as far as I could tell. It's cooperative. Everything in order.
If those 2 that Mac and Donovan are working on check out.
I got a hunch they will. Seems to me Lester told us everything. Everything we asked him, anyway. I don't think he held back.
If he did, I got an idea we might be able to tell us somebody's been left out in the cold here.
What are you getting at?
Well, now, if Herman's been able to buy up all those GM cars, what have the other salvage dealers been doing about it?
That's a thought.
Let's check his competition. 12:40 p.m. We drove back down to West San Pedro Street. We picked out a group of salvage companies in the immediate neighborhood close to Herman's. 3209 West San Pedro, John's Wrecking Yard. We introduced ourselves and started to talk with the owner, a John Bacon. A routine check was made of his establishment, and as far as we could tell, everything appeared to be okay.
And that's all you made, huh? Just that one buy?
That's it. 1946 Ford. We're dying a slow death.
Business pretty bad, huh?
Never seen it worse. At least as far as we're concerned.
How do you account for that, Mr. Bacon?
Oh, everything, I guess. Business bad all over at the moment. Scrap metal situation's in a state of flux at the present time.
In looking around, Mr. Bacon, we noticed you don't have much in the way of General Motors stuff. Is that because of GM going into war production? Any cutback would eventually affect you fellas, wouldn't it?
No, not at all. Cutback would, sure, but there's no tremendous curtailment right at the present time. They're still turning out a lot of automobiles back there.
Well, then what's your problem?
We're being outbid, right up and down the line by the same outfit.
Who's that, sir?
A company by the name of Herman's Salvage, just up the street there. Go out to buy a piece of merchandise, their boys just won't let us get near it.
They pay more than you do, huh?
More than we can, Sergeant. I honestly don't see how they're coming out on some of their deals.
It's that much out of line, huh?
Certainly is. You know, whenever there's anything available, all the salvage companies get their bid in. Well, Herman simply outbids all of us.
Yeah, it makes it kind of rough.
I'm not the only one. Pete Larkin up the street, old man Henry next door, all of us. I don't know what we can do about it. Herman seems to be doing all right, no matter what he pays for his cars.
Mm-hmm.
None of us can figure it out. Just judging from the number of cars he outbids us on and the number he rebuilds, I just can't see how he's coming out.
But he is, huh?
Figure he's laying odds on a big shortage. That's what all of us think.
He's laying in a stockpile. Is that the idea?
Sure. What else could it be?
We continued our check on all salvage dealers, both in the neighborhood of Herman Lester's place and throughout the city. It seemed to be a fact well known to most dealers that Herman was outbidding all of them on any and all GM automobiles. The only possible explanation was that he must be trying to lay in a large stockpile of this particular make of car. 3:35 p.m. We received word from Sergeants Mack and Donovan that they had checked out the 2 remaining cars listed in Herman's books, the resales. Ben was right. They checked out with no discrepancy. During the next 10 days, the investigation continued. The theft of late-model GM cars continued, with few recoveries. Suspects were arrested and questioned. We could find no connection that might lead us to an organized ring of car thieves that might be responsible for the lack of GM car recoveries. The salvage report showed no change in Herman's buying technique. Apparently, he was still dealing heavy on the one particular make of car. Thursday, May 25th. We received a teletype from DMV listing all the salvage buy transfers. In making our usual daily check of this teletype, we noticed a 1949 Cadillac, engine number 598-77415. It had been resold from salvage to a used car lot.
That's the place right up the block.
Yeah, I see.
Same cad we saw in Herman's salvage yard.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? The one in particular that I asked him about, you remember?
Yeah, I remember. You thought it could be fixed up. He said no.
It's only been a little over 2 weeks ago, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, still doesn't prove anything.
Here we are. Jake's. This is the place.
Yeah, there's a cad in the front line right down there, huh?
Mm-hmm. I don't see anyone around, do you?
No, I don't. Well, I guess it's all right to check the engine number anyway.
Yeah, I'll get the hood released.
Right. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the engine's had a good steam cleaning. Let's see. 598-77415.
That's it. Herman sure did a nice job on it, didn't he?
Yeah. Almost looks too good, doesn't it?
Yeah, just a minute.
Yeah.
Body serial doesn't match. Doesn't correspond with the engine model.
It's a 49 body. Could be a late 49, but it's a definite switch, isn't it?
It sure is. That's funny.
Yeah. Look at this right side here. This was the bad side, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Does it look like it's been rolled out to you?
No, there's no feathering, no orange peel. Either that's the best repaint job I've ever seen, or it's never been in an accident.
Yeah. I'll take a look underneath.
Yeah.
Okay. Want to move your feet there?
Yeah, all right. Anything?
No, nothing. There's not a seam or a joint under there. No welding marks of any kind. This car's never been in a smash-up.
The engine number checks, the body doesn't.
And this is the one Herman couldn't fix up.
That's what he said. Maybe he changed his mind.
Or he lied.
You are listening to Dragnet. From beginning to end, Dragnet is the authentic story of your police force in action.
Now, from beginning to end, the Fatima story. Actual convincing proof that in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties, extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more long cigarette smokers are now insisting on Fatima than ever before.
So if you smoke a long cigarette, compare Fatima. You'll find they now cost the same. But your first puff will tell you
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Insist on Fatima. Start enjoying the quality king-size cigarette. Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
1949 Cadillac, engine number 598-77415. In checking out this automobile, Ben and I had found that the engine number corresponded with the salvage report concerning Herman Lester's place. The one big item that did not jibe was the fact that the engine was now mounted in a different body than when the car left the factory. A fact that had to be accounted for in complete detail. When we had checked this automobile on the 11th of May at Herman's salvage yard, both engine and body numbers corresponded. In taking a close look at the car, it was obvious that the body had not been repaired in any way. It was clear that this particular car had not been in any kind of collision. We went back to the rear of the lot and asked one of the salesmen not to sell the car without informing us. When we got back to the office, we started rechecking all of the auto theft reports. We found 5 stolen Cadillacs, but all the body styles and models were different, with the exception of one, a 1949 Cadillac sedan, reported stolen on May 14th. It was registered in the name of William Brownell. We checked his home and found that he was at work. He was a superintendent for the North American Van Lines. We drove over and picked him up and took him to J.Q.'s car lot on Vermont Avenue.
This is the car, Mr. Brownell.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like mine, but I don't think it's the one.
Are you sure?
For one thing, it's a different color. My car was maroon.
You want to step over here, Mr. Brownell?
Sure.
Now, if you'll look very closely here on the door edging and on the jamb, right here, see? This is the one place sometimes they miss with a spray gun if they're going to repaint.
Oh, yeah, there's a faint trace of red under the blue paint there.
Looks like it could be maroon, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does it there.
This car's been repainted. It was maroon.
Well, mine didn't have these kind of seat covers. Let's see. Same kind of upholstery I had, though, underneath here. I don't know.
Mr. Brownell, there must be something other than the color and the upholstery that you'd know your own car by.
Never gave it much thought.
Well, there's usually some little identifying mark of some kind. I know that on my car, the lens on the right headlight got broken, and I had to replace it with one that didn't match.
Something like that, sir?
Let me see. Could I look inside there a minute?
Sure.
Right here under the speedometer, there was a thumbprint pressed in at the factory. It's pretty deep. No, it's not there now.
And don't forget that the car's been repainted. It might have been covered up.
No, this was cleared down at the metal. Apparently, when they were installing the instruments at the factory, the panel wasn't dry yet. Not there now, and they couldn't have covered it up unless they made a special point of it.
Well, sometimes that's done. Car thieves are kind of clever.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I don't think this is my car. Don't think I don't wish it was, but it's not.
Can you think of just one other thing, maybe? Just one mark of identification is all we need.
No. Even these tires aren't mine. I had white sidewalls.
Oh, could have been switched.
They were pretty new. Wait a minute. I think I remember something. No, there's no rip up there.
What's that, sir?
I just thought of something. The boys down at the office gave me a St. Christopher medal. You know, the large metal kind you're supposed to bolt to your dashboard?
Yes, sir.
I didn't want to put it on, so I carried it around with me in the car. There was a rip up there in the inner lining of the top, but you see there's no rip in this?
Let me see. How about it, Ben?
Yeah, I can feel it.
Does it feel like a metal?
Let me get my pocket knife on it.
Okay.
What do you think? They replaced the cloth up there?
I don't know.
Yeah, here it is.
Is this it, Mr. Brownell?
That's it. Look, on the back there, my name's engraved on it, see?
Yes, sir.
Well, I sure didn't think this was my car. I never would have known it.
That's what the guys figured who stole it. The 1949 Cadillac was taken to the police garage and a complete and thorough check was made. The car, with the exception of the engine, was positively identified as the property of William Brownell. This definitely implicated Herman Lester and showed his salvage operations to be illegitimate. He had obviously been buying one particular make of salvage automobile, outbidding all his competitors to do so. When he would buy a piece of wrecked equipment, an exact duplicate would be stolen to match it. He would then dispose of the engine from the stolen vehicle and replace it with a salvage engine. With this system of operation, Herman Salvage had been enjoying a lucrative business, which accounted for a great percentage of the stolen cars that we hadn't been able to recover. 7:25 p.m., May 25th. We drove out to pick up Herman Lesker. His home address was listed as 8625 Wonderland Drive. It was up in the Laurel Canyon district, a heavily wooded section of Los Angeles.
Pretty nice place up in there.
Yeah, but you can see of it through the trees. Well, let's go. Mm-hmm.
Look at that, Joe.
Yeah.
Looks like a 50 O's. Everything there but the engine. No plates.
Mm-hmm. I didn't notice that from the street, did you?
Never could have seen it from down there.
Looks like a garage back up in there, doesn't it?
Perfect spot. Can't see any of this from the street with all those trees. Pretty fancy layout for a home garage. Good size.
Yeah. Somebody's working up in there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hi there. Brings you fellas right up here.
We want to have a little talk with you.
Oh, you bet. Come on in the house. Have a cold beer, huh?
No, this will be all right.
Joe, you got a hot sheet?
Yeah. Right here.
Kind of caught me by surprise here, working out in the garage.
Yeah, that figures, Lester. These plates are from a stolen car.
You sure?
That's right.
You remember a 49 Cadillac we looked at down at your place a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, not sure. 49 Cad?
That's right. Whatever became of that car?
Oh, now I remember. Yeah, I sold that car to Jake's over in Vermont.
Thought you told us you couldn't fix it up.
I don't remember. You sure you don't mean some other car now?
No, it's the same one. You know the one we mean. How about it?
How about what?
That was a stolen car, Lester, and you know it. That's a stolen car out there in the yard, isn't it?
What's that hoist then? There he goes, Joe. All right, Lester, hold it. Stop it, stop, Joe. All right, now, come on. Stop it, Lester. Drop the hammer. Go with me.
All right. I'll get the cuffs, Joe.
Come on, get up on your feet.
All right, come on. On your feet.
Stand still.
Rough one, huh?
Yeah.
Come on, Lester. Let's go.
How'd you find out? Who tipped you off?
St. Christopher.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 15th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 82, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, one of the first things a detective learns is that you can't rely on snap judgments or first appearances. You get all the evidence first, and then you arrive at a decision. And that's just as true when it comes to choosing a king-size cigarette. Place a Fatima alongside any other king-size cigarette. Now, side by side, they'll look identical. When you smoke them, you'll find a world of difference. You'll find, as I have, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that gives you extra mildness, a much better flavor and aroma. If you haven't smoked Fatimas yet, buy a pack tomorrow and see if you don't agree. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Herman W. Lester was tried and convicted on 3 counts of grand theft auto and 2 counts of grand theft money, all sentences to run consecutively. Grand theft auto is punishable by imprisonment for a term of 1 to 5 years, grand theft money by a term of 1 to 10 years. The suspect was also filed on by federal authorities for violation of the Dyer Act. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Stay tuned for Counter Spy, next over many NBC stations.